Welcome to the STABcast, a podcast dedicated to Star Wars Legion.
Welcome, cadets and commanders, to the STABcast, the Sunsphere Tactical Attack Brigade Star Wars Legion podcast. I'm Will. Can I please have Exemplar back? Heim. With Ryan. Stop calling it Legion 2.0 Slowoski. Ben. General Grievous can collect my saber anytime. Fowler.
Absolutely.
And Tim. Wait, was there an announcement? Hannon. Welcome, everyone.
I'm a busy man,
Some
all right?
stuff
Welcome.
happened, didn't it?
I don't know.
So I knew the announcement had happened because I saw that my feed was just filled with stuff, but I've been too busy. Teachers were back this week. But then while we're prepping for the podcast, like, wait, we got new units? Where did the new units come from?
Yep.
So that was a surprise to me as of 40 minutes ago.
Yep.
When I saw
Crab
that there
walkers, man,
were
crabs.
72 unread messages in the STABcast Discord, I knew something
has
had
happened.
happened.
Something
I'm just
has
happy
changed.
that our little STABcast
Oh, wait.
Discord, the elite
Wait,
group.
we're on the show. The STABcast Discord doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
It
yeah.
does not
It's
exist.
never
It's not-
existed.
It's nothing. It's a nice quiet place that people come to coalesce and talk about things.
Where
instead of
Brett
shouting
posts
into the
bad
void.
lists, and then Al
Yeah.
goes, no.
No. This week on the 140th episode of the STABcast, we're gonna talk about not all the new stuff. We're gonna talk about the important new stuff.
See, we should never let you have this.
No.
I write a really nice intro for you.
I'm
Come
just
on.
gonna wing it, man. That's what we do.
It's-
Pour one
you
out for the
ruined his
old
intro.
Legion, take a swig for the new Legion, and then to battle reports from the newly laid fields of Legion 2.6.
Yeah, we're doing the show backwards. We're talking news first. It's weird.
Ryan's intro
The
name
news?
should have been "There will probably be very little news tonight." Soloski.
Yeah.
That was the quote right before Ministrav started.
That was the quote before
Actually,
the stream.
so we did talk about how we shouldn't record an episode just in case something happens at Ministravaganza, because this would have happened.
And Ryan's like, I don't think they'll announce anything that important. Probably just a unit or two.
Whabam.
So, the news?
The news.
The news?
The news.
Big news.
Yeah, and let's preface this conversation. We're not going to talk about all the news. We're going to talk about the 2.6
What's
update.
important to us?
Yeah, we'll talk about
There's a metric ton of news.
the sleeper
Yeah.
cells and the riot troopers next week, like their next episode after Gen Con. Maybe, I don't know, because I
And
think
the
we're going to have
crabs.
and the crabs. We're going to have I think a little bit of a news
Crab
drought.
rave.
As there typically is after a mini straff.
So Will is like, hey, Ryan's actually said, hey, we've got to play some weekend. This stuff is wild.
Mhm.
I mean, I worked 70 hours this past week getting ready for teachers to come back and kids to come back. So I'm
What
like,
if you
well,
just
how
left?
wild can this stuff be? And then I was busy on Saturday. And I didn't get home till late on Friday. And so I was like, okay, let's play a game. Will's like, I'm playing a game. Looks like Ryan's already playing with Brett online. Let's just do a TTS game. I was like, okay, surely it can't be that much different. It felt like Will and I learning how to play the game the first
We
time.
were.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it
was-
really was like, let's sit down, go page by page. Here's how we deploy. Start the unit off the board. I'm like, well, excuse me.
Excuse me? You guys stayed in
Yeah.
our game and watched me and Brett play. We're utterly confused and then left for a little while.
Well, no, you and Brett just talk over us constantly. To the
Well,
point
we
that
were trying to
couldn't
play
hear
a
'cause the
game
volume
while
was
you
really
guys
high.
were, technically we were there first.
Yeah, we moved to a different room
I'm just
to
saying,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
talk
we
through
would
the
be asking a
mission
question.
cards.
You guys would then have conversations. We'd ask a question again. No one would
I
answer it. And
I
we'd go,
couldn't
okay.
tell when you guys were asking each other questions or us, and
Well, I would say,
we had
hey,
stuff to
Ryan,
do.
does it work
Okay.
like this?
I don't listen to you. It's fine.
I know.
Yes.
But yeah, no,
I know.
You know.
I was fortunate enough to get a game in with local Will, Alpha Will, on Friday. Like, news dropped Thursday. We had printed rulebooks and printed cards on Friday and got a game in. And then Saturday night, played on TTS with Brett and then watched the back half of y'all's game. And then
Yes.
it's been an eventful weekend for all of us.
It really has been. So, Internet, I know you don't want to call this Legion 2.0.
I don't want to call it 2.0.
I just went to the river. That's all. I got to read all about all
There you
the
go.
changes. That's what I did. That was
Yeah.
yay.
Yeah.
I think it is definitely, I don't know, it felt like 2.0, the change when we did X-Wing. It's the same but different. It's the
Here's
same but upgraded.
can I
mean,
stand
there's
on
not
a soapbox made of like sand here for just a second?
You're going to, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Yours are always sandy.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
The only reason I don't like calling it like specifically a new edition, like we can put whatever numbers or whatever we want on it. But even with X-Wing, when we made the swap to X-Wing 2.0, it was a true new edition because like I come from a role playing game background more than miniatures. And when you get a new edition, like all of your books are now just cool reference and art books, but I have to go buy all the new stuff, all the rules change. Even with X-Wing, for every faction you played, you had to go buy a $50, $60, conversion kit.
Yeah.
The reason I don't like the term new edition is it has, especially from other war games, it has this doom and gloom that all of the stuff I have may not be in the new edition, or I may have to go buy new things or buy new books or do all of this. I like calling this an update because at most you have lost, I think, $70 of investment, because the only thing that didn't come over were the vital assets and priority.
I was just going to say,
supplies,
but Ryan,
expansions.
my
Yep.
supplies, my boxes, my vats.
Which
All of
Or
those
you can use
things-
his scatter terrain. You can use his terrain.
Sure,
And-
yeah.
And all of those things can still be used to indicate, like the bomb carts are the size of the new objective markers. You can still use all that stuff there. You still need bomb tokens for some of the secondary missions. Like all that stuff, with the exception of like the hostage and supply deck cards, you can use for other things. So that's
Right.
the only reason I'm going to get off my soapbox now. It's the only reason I don't like calling it a new edition, because everything comes over. It's all print and play. Like you can just go do the thing.
Great, but Legion 2.0.
Well, and half the cards are from the old edition.
Yeah,
rules,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
that's
it's not a
that's
full
good
update.
point.
It's
Yeah.
a
So
partial
a
update.
1.5, a 2.5.
No.
A
God,
2.5.
I hate,
It's a
yeah.
2.6.
2.6,
It is actually
guys.
update 2.6.
Rules document tool 2.6.0.
And I was talking with some of our other locals, and this is going to be difficult for me because just the way my brain operates.
Reading?
I really want to take the next 7 months from now until probably their Adepticon preview, or whenever we get the rest of this update. And I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but this is half of an update. Like a lot of the major changes cover the first 2 to 3 years of the game up through the Clone Wars starter box. Anything released after that didn't get many changes, if any at all. And I think we are in like I'm thinking of this as like a beta test or a pre-release or an early access of what the whole revamp of Legion will look like once we get things printed in their new art style and get the rest of the units all clean and updated. Does that make sense?
Somewhat.
Yeah.
I do think that eventually they'll update a lot of our, older unrevised cards, or at least like I'm waiting for someone with Photoshop skills to just port all the old cards into the new style, just so I
Sure.
can have my cards
Your
all
stuff
look the
match.
same,
Yeah.
because it's going to bother me.
Yeah.
Just like how MCP has 4 different card configurations now, how they
Yes.
you still have to use different, like some are
Sure.
landscape, some are portrait, some are blue, some are white, some are purple. Like
Yeah.
that bothers me a little bit. But anyway,
And
I
yeah,
agree that
and-
they're probably going to publish another update to more cards later.
And so it's going to be hard for me, but I'm going to try to be less critical of like things, because I know we're halfway through the update, and I think they just knew they had to do something, because no one wanted to play another 9 months, 10 months of EXD and Clone Commandos everywhere.
I don't know if they timed it because of those things or just this is how it worked out. But
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, we got a big new book with lots of additions and some very sneaky subtractions. Like, we've talked about this with a couple rulebook updates in the past. It's really easy to find the blue text and to find the stuff they've added, but when they remove stuff, it's sometimes you come in and you start playing with your preconceived notions about how stuff work, and like those rules just aren't there anymore.
It's the stealth change.
They removed
Displacement.
that sentence and didn't
Never
tell
heard
you.
of her.
Yeah. Displacement. I was like, because we were talking about, because I brought vehicles. I was like, I'm sorry, what? That doesn't do anything now?
Nope.
And you can't land on me. You have
Correct.
to stop.
Yes. That seems a little scary, but also not worthwhile. Like, yes.
So
Ben's favorite thing is gone.
yeah, there's
sometimes I like to just belly flop over.
I've got 4 games in this week, and there were multiple times during each game we were like, wait a minute, that's just not a thing anymore, is it? You're like, nope. All right, neat. Here we go. During our preamble before the show, Ben went on. I talked about how AI might have all of its training wheels put right back on, and Ben's like, it's not that easy. And it actually really is.
It's actually very, very easy. So.
Yep.
It's very easy to get around.
So I mean, this
I caught
document
my-
has
yeah.
hundreds of changes.
It does.
What do we think each of us is like our biggest impact or change to the game? Or change
So,
keyword, whatever whatever you want to
I
say
think
about
it's going to be the thing that's going to upset the most people. It really is the mission building capacity.
Tim got
So-
what he wanted, no bids.
I wanted no bids and I got my no bids. Hooray!
You did. You did,
Play
buddy.
the game. Use your points.
You did.
Live your best life, everyone. Put that random
When
Hey.
Will and I
recon
rolled
intel
our
on there.
5 black dice, it was I received a single surge token. Will, I think, got 2 surges and a single
I got
hit.
2 surges.
It was a very commanding.
That's
Throw
right.
that environmental gear out somewhere.
So rather than final salvo, it's the initial salvo, right?
That's right.
That's what we're calling it.
That's what we're calling it.
Okay.
Yeah, you roll off, and even turn 0, like, it's cool. I do like how you get to. I'm going to imagine people listening to the show are somewhat familiar with the changes. I don't think we're not going to go through the rule book.
Yeah, we're not going to
And-
read
and-
the rules
and
word by
read,
word. We're going to
read
react
those.
with our
If we
experience
talk
with them.
about something that you are unfamiliar with, hit the pause button, pull out your PDF of the rules, look up what we're talking about for some context, and then
Yes.
hit play again.
So the mission building itself, I do like. So I love the idea of the blue player taking from their deck, all right, and then alternating modifying those missions. I really like that idea. I'm like, oh, maybe I like yours, and so I choose not to modify it. Then we get to have the primary objective,
Well,
which also
it's-
gives us our deployment zones.
It's not just the blue player starting. The blue player picks whether they want to put out their primary or their secondary, and then the quote-unquote red player does the other card.
Right.
Mhm.
So you guys are both having input on your mission, and obviously you both get your own advantage card.
right.
So whichever deck you feel more
strongly towards,
impactful.
which
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
will probably maybe not, but it'll probably be like you start with your primary deck to try to force them to flip out of it. But
to burn their flips on your stuff, yeah.
right, our set of missions though did shrink somewhat because I believe we just have
Yes.
they're 8 now, or there's 6 now.
We went from 8 to 6.
6. So there's probably going to be some more crossover in decks to where, maybe our decks are going to be more likely to be similar.
Right, yeah.
I really like the advantage cards. I do.
Those are fun. Those are cool.
That's something you have to remember. It's going to
They're
be a
nifty,
one-time thing
yeah.
you do that's cool, unless
Yeah.
you do the setup advantages. I mean, you've got.
I have always done the setup advantages because I knew I was going to forget them otherwise.
Will and I played Ordnance and Strafing Run because we both thought it'd be cool. We like
was-
suppression.
Side note, I was gonna say, was strafing run good?
Scored me a point at the very end.
Yeah.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
It mattered because we were playing a secondary that involved suppression.
Yeah.
Otherwise, maybe.
Well,
I
let's talk
think
about
it's neat.
secondaries.
Since
Because
you're
the secondaries surprised
yeah.
me.
Yeah, for sure. I actually, of the turn 0, the secondaries is probably my favorite bit.
Yeah. Kind of lets you customize the primary mission.
Yeah, since we're not getting like unlimited, or we're not getting combinations of like deployment, condition, and objective cards. Since all the objective primaries have objective or have deployments of territories kind of stapled to them, the secondary really is going to help make each mission feel a little different.
Because the winner is the first to 12 points or the game ends. And whoever
Right.
scores the most
Right.
at that point.
Exactly.
Or it's like that 12-point number is the magic number.
Yeah.
If
Unless
you
you
have
manage to
12
get
in
to
the
turn
end phase,
5.
or whoever has more points at the
Yeah.
end of 5.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and to
And you
kind of
can't
bounce
score on 1.
Yeah, to bounce back to strafing run and these objective cards, the other thing that they changed, which I really, really, really like, is scoring points is now before cleanup.
Yes.
So in your example, you do that constant panic check for see if you're contesting objectives or doing the thing. If you put suppression on people, you don't have
It
to
actually
do
sticks
whatever their
until
bravery is
scoring.
+1 to score. Yeah, you
Right.
score first, which is cool.
Yeah, it always
do
felt
like
a little weird trying to panic someone having to go like beyond that to make sure it would stick
Right.
long enough.
Yeah. Is getting
So
the
I-
extra suppression on there and be like, well, that doesn't really matter. Just take it off. Who cares? Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
I will say I like that they all start scoring at the end of the second round.
Right.
So that's fine.
I like that. I like
enjoy
that some of the
piece
secondaries actually add tokens as well. They're not just like things you're tracking. Although
Right.
some of them are
Yes.
bingo cards.
Your
Yeah,
first
some
round
bingo
is for
cards.
murder.
there. It really is. Position to murder and also murder. But that really, so it felt smooth, honestly. And I like that one of the options is I like the setup. I'm the red player. I'll go ahead and take the side of the table I want.
Well, blue picks table side, but you can choose to become the blue player
Right.
during setup. Yeah.
Yes. So that's what I particularly enjoyed. Because I liked what we had. Because Will pulled the things I already had in my own deck. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll choose that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I chose the side that I walked into on TTS. But
Theoretically, red player could take blue as their first pick, and then the other player could take it back from them.
Yep. And then
they
they could take it back. Yeah.
Time.
Yep.
And I enjoy for advantages that they are truly advantages. Like it's not like a backhanded thing. It's like, hey, this is really good for me, and then you also get a really good thing for you. Like it feels a lot better than, okay, we're gonna play this. Like we're gonna play Limviz. Screw your long range units. Die.
Part of me
Yeah.
misses hostile environment or war weary or the penalty boxes.
Of course,
but I
I
know
loved
I'm
bringing
weird
War
like
Weary.
that.
Everyone hated War Weary so much, and it was wonderful.
they did.
Now,
and I'm a guy who actually played it quite a bit, and I did.
Yeah, I will say they did in another later stream put out the like battlefield conditions that you can play with, where you like roll for special rules. But those are strictly meant for like casual play, and there were some detrimental things within those. But in the competitive turn 0, there's nothing bad.
Yeah,
So it's looking great for some doubles games on Sundays at Gen Con and Adepticon.
It's almost like someone is knee deep in writing a new doubles packet as we speak.
Who would be doing that? Well, Ryan, you'll have to deal with a lot more minis and doubles because now we play with 1,000 points.
I mean, yeah,
God.
we do.
At first I thought, oh, that's too many points for a droid player. I'm never going to spend that up. And then be darned
you
if-
did.
Yeah, there I was.
You did it.
Turns out,
In fact, droid activation counts with the 1,000 points may actually go down.
You can
It
actually
felt
buy
that way. I was
upgrades.
like, I was at 12, and I was like, I guess I can't have any more points. But I mean, I did have a Grievous and 6 core, and also 2 spiders and 2 Magnus.
And
So
now
it
that
was
you
just a lot.
can, we'll talk about this in a bit, but you can double up some squads to make them droids thick.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Like
I
thick
tried.
droids.
I think the problem with multiple, well, I wouldn't say anything over 1,000, but really anything like 1,000 points, really. The problem with that was, or I'm thinking of 1,200 points, but still, the same problem was,
Sure.
it's too many activations with what we had before.
Right.
Okay, it's going to be too many activations as a whole for the whole thing, and we're never going to be able to get it done. So, now you have a shorter round counter, so down to 5 rounds, and you have a 12 victory point cap, and you can beef up those squads. So there's like multiple ways that, even though yes, it's 1,000 points, you get through it pretty quick.
Yeah. In the first game me and Will played, we barely got the store closed because we were chit chatting and showing off the new rules to people who are watching, but also just kind of struggling our way with the rule books through it, making sure we checked everything that we did to make sure that we didn't bring our preconceived notions. So we got through 3 turns in like 3 hours. That was also like setting up to record. And do some other stuff. But the other 2 games that I played once we got up and running, or the other 3 games I played this weekend, were much, much, much faster, which was cool. Like, it is more points, but I think your average game time is probably going to go down 30, 45 minutes.
Once you really have it down pat, yeah.
Right,
especially.
yeah.
I mean,
Because, Ben and I
Going
were
to 1,000
stumbling through
points.
everything.
Yeah,
but
were.
it was our first game, like you said.
Yeah.
You have to read through every paragraph now just to be like, does it work that way?
Does
Shit.
it work that way?
I'd say we spent probably about 4 hours playing. Really playing.
3.5, 4, yeah.
Yeah, 3.5. Yeah.
Probably,
and you guys
probably
were
half
also
an hour
doing
on
that
setup.
on TTS,
While building
which
decks and-
takes
yeah.
forever. Yeah.
Yeah. Navigating how to get the cards into TTS and make the grid and the tokens and put deployments.
yeah,
We stopped
making
and talked for a
TTS
good hour and
do
a half
the
afterwards.
things that doesn't have automation yet to do that you need to do for the new rules for sure.
We fought over those tauntaun markers.
You sure did.
Yes, we did.
We had to study the tauntauns.
Such
Right here, you guys are just gonna call me.
So far, these are all been positive things. They're all different
Yeah.
things. Very, very different things. Tim, what do you think is the biggest update impact here?
There's so much I could say. I
Empty chairs and empty tables.
No, I know it's
Stand the men who used to fire.
it's either going to be like fire support or transport. I don't know. I think it's got to be fire support. That's like
I think that
I have
this
a lot
is a
of passion.
fundamental shift in the GAR.
Yes,
This is a fundamental shift in GAR construction.
Exactly. I have a lot of passion behind my transport takes, which I can save for later. But I think it's got to be fire support because like it's just completely changed.
Transport did not fundamentally change the GARs.
Disagree, but yes, like fire support just completely. It's not even close to the same thing. Like this is not like, oh well, now you roll like half dice or something like that, or now it doesn't take your activation or anything. It's like nope, you just all that stuff you were doing. Never again. Your faction identity, partially faction identity, it's gone. And I'm not saying it's bad. I like it. I like it. But I think that is probably
different.
You know, like the Joker, as a man who caught a tire, like a dog who caught a tire, I don't know what to do now because I have been declaring clones Delinda S for a good.
Well, we've been Delinda, Ben.
You still can. Don't worry. Clones are still spicy.
We actually did Delinda. We deleted the fire support. We deleted the phase 1s and the phase 2s.
But I think
so I was like,
I think that's the biggest thing because also it not only does it affect the GAR faction, but it affects everyone in the game, really, because you're not facing that anymore. Even if you never played a clone unit in your life, you're never.
And I played Rebels, and I fire support probably more than most GAR lists. With my
Echo GAR
base.
supports were going to be 16 dice surging to crit sometimes.
Yeah.
I will miss throwing those massive handfuls of dice, though. Those are so fun.
I will too, buddy.
You can still do it.
You still can.
You just do it differently. Yeah.
But they won't be big and surge crit with ISP fire supports.
No, the dice number will probably
just
be just as big. You just won't have all the mods and all the ways to do the surge tokens.
But that was the fun.
Clones can still throw. Can they still get to 20 dice?
No, you can get to like 15. If you bring a doubled up squad with a Z6 and 5s, you get like 16.
Okay, I thought it was more than that. That's definitely more than that. I think 19, I think 5s is 19 and throw a captain in there for like 20.
You can't bring 5s and a captain.
You can't bring because the squad will take up the personnel slot.
Right.
So I think it's 19 because I think it's 9 from 5s and the Z6 and then 10 or 9 from the all just the regular dudes.
It's 9 plus 3 plus 6, which is 18.
Yeah, 18. Okay.
I can bring 17 dice.
Exactly. Now everyone can do it. Damn it.
I can do 20.
Yeah, and yours are going to surge.
Yeah, they are, but they're
mine
mostly
are not
white.
surging at all. Oh no, these are mostly black and red. So,
but yeah, fire support definitely changed. I actually really like the new fire support. I think it makes, if you've listened to the show for any amount of time, I really like to talk about counterplay. And the thing that wasn't fun with a lot of the mechanics that honestly went away was like you just do a thing and your opponent didn't have an opportunity to challenge it. And now with new fire support, you just get standby tokens and your opponent can see those because you get them during the command phase and they can choose to interact with them or not. Like if I don't do anything near those guys, I'm losing opportunity because I'm not able to play that section of the board, but I can make a choice not to interact with them, or I can take my first action to try to shoot them off or give you suppression or do something in a way that'll make you lose that standby token. So new fire support is super, super interesting. And I know my experience with it was different because I didn't have giant handfuls of fire support. I was just adding 4 black dice. But now if you do it right, you can just double your dice, which is almost, especially I think with the new cover rules, might be better than the old way, but it's going to definitely trickier to pull off.
So if GAR lost all the fire support because we got rid of phase 1s and phase 2s, so are we still just left with the mortars and we're left with the Mark 2s and
yep.
What else has fire support? Is that it?
I think that's it.
Okay.
That's well, and the clones can still get it. It's just really expensive. It fits one of their squad identities. You can get fire support.
Gotcha.
Which
so we're talking about piles and piles of dice, which Tim loves to throw. But I think part of that, one of the reasons why it can be as effective, is the way that they've changed cover.
Them new cover rules, baby.
Cover is amazingly different.
It is. Cover ain't what it used to be, and unless sometimes it is. So now you're rolling a die before your defense roll against every hit, not crit, that's coming in, You have either a 1 in 6 or a 2 in 6 chance of blocking it. Sometimes it does nothing, sometimes it does a lot, but I really like how, once again, talking about kind of counterplay, how it scales with what your opponent's doing.
Yes, absolutely.
So now,
it's not just a blanket of the first 2 hits don't matter. It's
right.
Yeah, it used to be beam was, take a suppression because you weren't going to get through the cover.
Oh, beam
Like,
weapons
that was
will
a
Did I
beam
roll a
rip
attack.
right through you.
No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, all the low dice pool characters have been seeing a lot of, I think are going to see a lot of work. I'm really looking forward to playing more Han. I put IG-11 on the table, and he actually kicks some serious ass. I think Rex is incredibly good. We're going to see all these characters that we haven't seen for a while start to do some cool stuff. Just because
Rex is gonna be very, very good.
Oh yeah.
all of their dice would
and,
just barely go over cover.
And Ben, you were worried about it adding a lot of time to the dice rolls. I don't think by the end of our game it was really slowing things down that much.
It really didn't, in part because most of my white dice were blank
Mhm.
until they
Right,
weren't,
yes.
and then you just rolled them again. You just rolled them a second time.
Yeah.
There is part of me that goes, "Oh, are we becoming too much like the 40 hammers? Because now I'm rolling for hits, now I'm rolling for
Sure.
wounds."
Yeah. I
Which
mean,
is very much the thing we're doing. I mean,
I
yes.
think
but it works.
what's-
I like it actually. I mean,
to kind of tie 2 points together, the missions where you're kind of blind flipping from your deck or drawing from your opponent's deck, and this new cover rule, I think when you approach this game, one thing you have to keep in mind is there is a lot more randomness in this game. You can do certain things to mitigate it, but there's a lot more just variables, and I think you have to kind of accept that going in.
yeah, I can see it. But I would say, but cover playing like that way
Mhm.
doesn't feel quite so bad that like heavy. So red units still get the opportunity to use cover. They do.
Yep.
But it doesn't feel so bad when you block off 2 hits automatically, like clunk clunk.
Yep.
And now I'm only left with 1 die left going into a red unit who's going to almost always 50-50 roll it.
And
Yeah,
it's,
and-
Right.
it's also a bit thematic too of like, oh hey, like all my guys managed to duck behind cover. Like if you really like want
Right.
to get down into like the nitty gritty
Mhm.
of, and I'm thinking more like on the childlike wonder sense of like, oh I'm playing
Sure.
all these
Oh, no,
units that are
absolutely.
pew-pewing each
Theater
other.
of the mind.
Yeah, theater of the mind, like exactly. Great term for it is to be able to like, oh, they ducked behind the rocks and they were able to get out of it. Ha ha.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well,
cool.
and
And
also
like,
Absolutely. Very
yeah.
cinematic. Very cinematic.
the rule for having to be close to the cover you're using. It's not just like
Yes, I
there's
love that
there's
change.
there's that
Yes.
block, that's 3 inches away from the attacker, but 14 inches away from the defender, but
Yes.
they still get cover because it's obstructed. Now you have to be the half range or
The
a little bit of more than a speed 1 away
Yeah.
from it.
the barricade in the center of the table that gives everyone heavy cover technically
Right.
was kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. It was very dumb.
And kind of on that note, we will do an episode much further down the line once we've had time to wrestle with all these changes. I do love that we just did an episode about how to build better tables.
Oh, and it's
now
completely wrong.
And yeah, it's completely wrong now. Delete that episode, guys. All of our
So if you
missions
go away
changed.
with Lost episode 143,
Yeah,
it's going to
all-
delete episode
we
146.
can't have 2 lost episodes in the 140s. That's too close together.
That's something that once we wrestle with the game, I'll probably have some thoughts on. But yeah, how we build tables, the types of terrain we use are going to be very, very different.
I mean,
and that's a good
people
thing.
can still go back and listen to our How to Build Tables episode 7.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very
also true.
wrong.
It's
but
very
it's
wrong.
still there. And
Actually,
also
that
don't do
one-
that. Please don't do
That one might be. That one might be better now than the one we just did.
Maybe,
All right.
yeah.
So this is a place. So we're going to talk about the positive, the negatives, and I do like
Yeah.
the new mission building. I do not care for the new deployments. I'm just going to be honest with you. They feel very static to me. They're very
I-
straight lined. I miss a rollout. I miss a long
Well,
march because
yes.
that's the things I always played.
Yes and no.
But all right, but even close the pocket isn't disarray.
All right. Well,
Where's my disarray? I want disarray back.
I think you have to put that out of your head of looking at the territories, as they're now called, as deployment zones, because they're not. You can.
Well, I have to deploy into them. I have to start from there. I mean,
Yeah, but you could put your movement tool within your territory and then just hook it 90 degrees out and move right out of it
You
if
don't
you
have to
wanted
end
to.
in it.
yeah,
Do you,
I
do
get
you
that. but
have
I mean,
to fully end in it with your first move? I may
No, I
be
was saying
wrong.
you don't.
Yeah, that's what
that's
I'm
what
saying.
We don't. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm agreeing
so,
with you, yes.
So yeah, there's actually a ton more freedom. Like deployment looks like, if you look at those things, and yeah, there's only 6 in air quotes deployment cards, but those are just territory cards, and scout, infiltrate, and ways to get on the table, transport all changed. And I think we will probably maybe later down the line see other ways to join the field, to where they're like, it's even going to be more important not to think of them as deployment zones. Because I will say, the battles, at least in the ones that I've played, are so much wider than they were before, where you just kind of, you have your deployment zone, and
it definitely spreads you out more.
You have to fight on multiple flanks. I'll talk about that my last game I got this weekend, where it was their first game of the new rules, and they deployed in a very smart way for the old rules, and I bodied them because they were too close together, and I dominated the objectives. So I do think, yes, you're right, Ben, your deployment zones have gotten more static, but I think you have to not think of them as deployment zones.
They're more of the territory that if an ability references your, opponent territory, that's really where that shape matters more, or with prepared positions where you deploy like you used to.
So those are, I love the new updates. I really do. And part of it's refreshing. I had just told, I think Brett a couple weeks ago, I'm just not feeling the urge to get back into it. I wasn't. Now, that's a personal life choice. That's a me issue, not a game issue.
I had
been out for quite a bit.
Not the only one, for sure.
And I knew you were struggling with the same pieces there. So for me, like, this gave me a great opportunity to, let's go play a thing. In fact, I cracked a joke on the Tennessee Volunteer Legion, which is a real Legion group that does exist. Mm-hmm. That, hey guys, I played with my Geonosians finally. Who wants to talk about Legion? What's happening here? And of course, community, everything on fire gif. So
no, I was struggling with creating lists and just, it's like, I don't want to play Commandos, but like, goddamn, Commandos,
Yeah, you have to play Commandos.
If you're playing
I still think you may have to play Commandos. I mean, you
really might.
Commandos.
It's an option.
Good. They're still real good.
They're still real good.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I this is invigorating. It is, and I do like the pieces there. Am I going to struggle with we used to do it this way? Sure, that happens in every game in which you played previous versions of. Version 1.0 version.
I was just saying, I think the biggest difference is that the changes weren't announced with a pause. Like, they're not like, hey, a big change of the game is coming, Legion 2, and it's coming in March.
Yeah.
Because that's how X-Wing 2 rolled out, and it killed our group, essentially. Like, half of it was gone.
And they also
Legion
announced
also
it at Worlds, though. Like,
yeah,
hey,
that was
everyone,
the problem.
Let's
they
celebrate this.
halfway through Worlds. Not at the end of Worlds, halfway through it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but you bring up a good segue now. I do think this was a missed communication opportunity.
Oh.
I know I'm a little bummed. I know some people are not. I know it's a pretty tightly, knit race. I think it was a huge missed opportunity for them to, a couple of weeks or months ago, whenever the Gen Con event, like, tickets went live, they didn't have to announce what was happening, but to say that, hey, Legion changes are going to be happening, and our first flagship tournament is going to be Gen Con, where the devs are there, where there's a booth and you can, buy product and do stuff. And we went through Ministravaganza. They dropped the book. It says effective, 7/19 or whatever it was.
Right,
and because it hit us all out of the blue, I know the tournament you're going to, Will, next weekend in Gen Con, because people aren't going to have time to get all their stuff updated and relearn everything, they're operating off of the old rules. And I'm like,
some people have embraced cowardice. Yes,
they had time. They chose not to use their time. But anyway.
Well, but this is AMG. Like, they run 2 tournaments in the States a year, Gen Con and Adepticon.
Plenty of time. But anyway.
And
yeah, I think so
and
too.
they're running old points, and I'm a little disappointed because I felt like that could have been really cool if, when the ticket went live, they said, "Hey, there's going to be changes coming at Ministravaganza. Whatever points or adjustments, they didn't have to, like, obviously spoil what was going to happen. Whatever happens there, we're going to put in the player packet."
Yes, but also several weeks is enough of a time for you to print things out and use the units you have and be able to proxy things. It's not hard.
Yeah. I'm with you. Tim.
It's not hard.
Bring a bucket and a mop, boys. Bring a bucket and a mop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it was a big missed opportunity to make Gen Con something really special, instead of now just like, do I want to, if I go undefeated in day 1, do I really want to play day 2? Because it's Gen Con. I got other stuff to do.
It's a
Some
whole
prize
tournament
pool
where
is just spectacular.
it's a whole
Yeah.
tournament where none of your stats matter. So sorry,
Right,
but
yeah. Yep.
all of the data
And
you're
you're
going to
not-
gather from Gen Con is fucking useless. So
Yeah, and I know
enjoy
I'm
You're
gonna
not getting
go-
practice. For,
I'm gonna go
you know,
lose to
whatever.
Clone Commandos 3
Right.
times.
But you're not only that, you're
Yeah.
losing it to Clone Commandos in a game that is no longer relevant because it's completely
right,
different.
yeah. So
Mhm.
I'm not mad. I'm a little disappointed, but I feel like it was a big missed opportunity for Atomic Mass.
I think
Yeah.
you're laying
I
the
think
blame
so, yeah.
in the wrong place there, but yeah.
Well, isn't AMG's running that tournament, right, Ryan?
AMG is running that tournament. Yeah.
How about that? There you go.
Yeah.
Look at that.
I understand it from a perspective of that there's a local event that's keeping the old rules, and that's next Saturday, like this upcoming Saturday.
Right.
So that's shorter notice, and it's a community that isn't going to isn't as committed to getting in practice games or printing
Sure.
out rules. Like it's not.
It's people. It's people willing to pay. Gen Con's not cheap. It's people
Right.
to travel or drive and get hotels and play the game. So, but I get that there's arguments on both sides. I know there's some people who they've been prepping for Gen Con and they don't want all their hard work to for their big tournament that they didn't get to go to Worlds and there's not another big open tournament for them to go to and they've been prepping and practicing and they want to let their efforts pay off. And I get that. I disagree, but I get that.
Sure. Yeah.
So what I'm calling for is a complete erasure of the ELO list. Let's bring Alpaz back down to
down
zero
to planet
games
Earth.
played.
I'm fine with that. I'll beat.
What
I
did
think
Ryan pay you to say that?
this day and age, I can beat him in a foot race on Legion games played. I'm retired as a TO, guys. We're going back to just
yeah.
play.
Yeah.
That's also because he's picked up 4 card games. So
Yeah.
Wow.
he's a man of little arcana now.
He doesn't
Man
mind
of
being
little
bad at 4 games at once. That's amazing. I don't know if I have that kind
Wow.
of stamina.
What's your record against Paz and Legion, Tim?
I
Well,
think I'm
this
101,
isn't-
actually.
Okay. Okay.
Alpaz being bad at Legion is an old concept. Let's talk about new concepts.
Alpaz isn't bad. He's 2-1 always and forever. 2-1.
He is the most Stabcastian of all the Stabcastian. He's about 50-50 on all games played. Listen, that's why Alpaz has been adopted by us
That's right.
to be a Stabcaster. So we'll just never invite him on the podcast.
Correct.
right.
Yeah. So, but that's the old concept, Alpaz. New concept, new Alpaz. So I really have got to say I wasn't expecting backup, but I'm glad we have it.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
good.
Because-
I love it. I love it.
Backup's awesome. Backup's really cool.
Because it fixes one of the problems we've always talked about is
Mm-hmm.
you pay a lot of points for a commander who then drops dead.
yeah, he does.
Just like
Just get
blah,
sniped
and
right off the board or fire
It's
sported
the
right off
most
the board.
uncinematic thing,
There it
uncinematic
goes.
thing possible.
Yep.
It was something I always complained about why my T series had a white die when the clone commander had a red die. Like
Mm-hmm.
Because you
they only have
suck.
4 health. Yes, they do. And I had a worse die pool. I had a red white. Like, what is going on with this thing? So I like backup.
And
so
there's
if you have
and there's enough
yeah.
workarounds to back up to where your heroes aren't
Yeah.
invincible either. Because I was
Right.
worried when we were going
Once
to
you
1,000
close range,
points.
it's no longer effective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you can just suppress whoever's backing them up, and then
Exactly,
they can't
that
provide
too,
backup.
So, for those of you who wonder what backup is, your commander or your operatives, if they are at the half range and has line of sight to the unit leader, they basically they have to have a
Of a
core,
core
thing to do
unit.
it.
has to
Has
be a core
trooper unit.
or a
It can't
unit
be
with
suppressed.
Guardian,
Yes.
Yes.
Or unit with guardian.
or a unit
Uh,
with
okay.
entourage.
Yeah, there's a couple more pieces in there.
Or
Yeah.
detachment.
But yeah,
But basically, when you're attacked from beyond range 2, you may cancel up to 2 hits. So it's old
not
cover
detachment,
as long as
but
you
it's
got
the other one.
bodies.
Yeah. But yeah,
There's like
it's-
3 other things. Like
yeah,
all
there's-
rules have an exception.
enough-
There
yeah,
are 3
there's-
keywords. Yeah.
But backup
Yeah.
is a way for keeping your heroes alive. And I was worried when we went up to points, there
Yes.
was more guns. Heroes would just die faster, so why take them? But this makes them pretty tanky of just being able to slough off 2 hits. And that 2 hits is after, we talked about the new cover rolls. That's after the cover roll. So you get a chance to
Oh,
roll cover against those 2 hits.
No. It's during the modify attack dice.
Look at
steps.
the attack. Look at the timing chart, sir.
How many times can that change? Where does the modified dice happen after cover? That doesn't make any sense.
It's convert attack surges, apply dodge and cover,
Really interesting.
and then modify attack dice. And then
So
so
wait.
something you do right before you
Crazy
roll
dice.
your saves.
are aims
it's
after
Interesting.
cover?
All right. That's what it says here.
The re-roll step, re-roll attack dice is before apply dodge
Oh
and
my
cover.
god. So reroll
This
is
is-
separate from modify. Okay.
Correct.
Yes.
This is like our results are fixed, and now you're doing
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
You know, like
So that means barrier would be after cover because it cancels hits.
correct.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. See, new things to be gained every time you reread
And
them.
I'm
We're
trying to
still
find the
learning,
timing
everyone.
Yep.
chart.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad we have one to attack timing chart, but that seems a little odd to me. I
It
get
changes
it. I get it.
every update. Something changes about it for sure.
This is about the truth. This is about the truth there. But yeah, I mean, it just keeps the heroes alive, which I think does. Well, it helps every faction. I was about to
Helps
say
every
helps
faction.
rebels because you guys have tons of them.
Yep.
But maybe it helps Bright Tree because y'all get more of them. No, I like it. I really do. Like it is nothing worse than watching your Veers drop dead because some lucky lone striker put 4 into him or 5 into him. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had a wicket explode. I've seen your wicket explode.
I've rarely had a wicket make it past turn 3.
Yes.
As he shouldn't, because he's a terrorist.
As a ball of fur.
Yes.
But he's gonna have so much backup now.
He's gonna
All
have
of the backup.
All the backup.
Thankfully, it only applies
what's
once.
nice
You don't
is-
get 2 hits per squad.
Right.
Exactly. And you're not getting, the actual guardian, so it's not like you're spending bodies to do it as well.
Right.
Right.
Like, which also, I guess, probably makes Boyle even more of a pain in my behind because every time I did it with Boyle just blocked the thing he was guardian.
Right. Well, Boyle can't provide backup now, so there's
Yeah.
like
Oh, that's true.
guardians
That's true.
can't provide backup.
So you'll have Boyle and then the guardian, you'll have Boyle doing
guardian
guardian and then the backup unit next to them. So they'll be in a
Yep.
big circle
Yes.
around.
and when you shoot,
not Obi-Wan,
when you
around
shoot
Anakin.
that group, then Boyle will guardian those hits.
So Boyle's kind of backing up the backup, if you know.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
He backs that up.
Boyle, the most excellent roadie.
Yeah. Well, backup
Yeah.
is it took me a long. It's probably
Put
the
that
most
thing in
cumbersome
reverse.
thing in the new rules of to wrap your head around since it is completely new. But I'm glad it's here.
Yeah. Put it in reverse, Boyle. Put it in reverse. I like it. Something that came up a lot in my game against Will was the pass pool. Because
Yes.
I'm playing droids, and so I'm going to play a lot of the activations. I
Mhm.
tried my best to get as many as I could there.
Yeah, it's
Will, how the
a,
pass pool play out for you?
It's kind of a modification of the old pass system where you got 1 no matter what the difference was. Now, at the start of every round, you compare units on the table. That's the thing to
Right.
specify. And whoever has less gets a number of pass tokens instead of 1 pass.
Yeah, you get an
Um,
X minus 1, basically. Difference between them is
Yeah.
subtract 1.
Yeah, so if
now
Ben
that-
had 10 and I had 7, I would get 2 passes.
Yes.
Right.
Now, the difference was definitely something I felt. Having more than 1 pass really opened up ways to be like, I really don't want this to go, so I'm going to pass
Yeah.
first, go with something else,
Right.
and then pass a second time.
Will was trying to wait out my bag because I
Yeah.
had some things in bags I couldn't order everything every time.
I
did
really
it
wanted
most
him to
of the time, but not every
pull his
time.
spider first, and he did
never
not.
did.
But,
Well,
you know,
And
Lo and
improvised
behold,
orders
droid-
is still a damn good card.
Well, and
Yeah, droids having order control. Who would have thought?
yeah.
yeah.
And passing also used to be like, even as someone who's played it all the time, every time I'm like, can I pass? I don't know. Like, what?
Yes.
You count your things, I count my things, and then we take this and we go around the rosy, ring around the, and then
Yeah.
and then you divide it by 5, and then okay, now I can pass.
right.
and sometimes you just forgot because you didn't have a token to represent that
Right.
you had to pass there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've
well, and
I've
it was based
thrown
on
a D6
what's
into my bag
hadn't
now.
activated yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So it could change during the round, and now it doesn't change during the round until it sometimes does.
I'm going to use X-Wing challenge coins as pass tokens.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Clink,
now,
clink,
You can also get passes during the round if you pull out a dead unit's token that hadn't activated yet.
Correct.
You can
Will did
immediately
that to me, and I was like, wait, what? Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yes, you pull the dead token and immediately pass the activation back.
Yes.
Yep.
It's
You-
not
you
just
can-
keep pulling until you find one anymore.
But you can choose to do that if you're trying to find and make something happen. It's not like pulling a dead token as a punishment when
Right.
you're in that
Right.
foot race.
It
you
gives
can
you the
choose to
option.
pass or draw again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
you can pass or keep pulling. That's right. Yeah.
The cool thing that I'm anxious to see what they do with, and we get a tease of it in the advantage cards. Since you're now building a pass pool, I see this maybe with Thrawn, but there's going to be some other characters that could also do it. I would love to see just like unit abilities that give you like add a token to your pass pool, or playing a command card gives you a token or takes a pass token away from your opponent. Like there's now an open design space that's now a mechanic you can work with, and I'm anxious to see what they do with it.
After the Ahsoka television show, I think Thrawn disappointed me so much. I don't know that. I want him to be in this
Wow.
game.
What a hot
he's
take.
gonna be
That's
in
right.
this game.
I said it.
Wow.
I said it. I said
He's
the
he's
thing.
coming. Like they showed. They
And
showed
a wrong
the
take.
sculpt.
Hey, that's for a future episode. Future episode. Future episode. Can it?
Well, yeah,
Listen, I was just a sideways dig at Ahsoka. So.
that's fair.
That wasn't
What's
sideways.
When we dig at the
It was
acolyte
direct.
Show was
It was direct.
show was fine. We
Show
got
was-
Harrison Duel actually. Show was great.
Show was great. I was going to say show was great.
Do
But
all Star Wars shows need to start with an A title now? Ahsoka, Andor, Acolyte.
I mean,
Correct.
if they're all the Andor, yes.
what if it started
that's
with
true. They're all
a
Andor,
squad
fine.
leader? Hey.
Well, we talked
Hey,
about
we-
Boyle. Yeah, what's a
Yeah.
squad leader?
I don't know. It's a thing that I was told to
Okay.
talk about. No, I'm just kidding. It's
Tim-
what's.
Tim,
I'm
damn
just
it.
kidding. I'm just kidding. So
Okay.
I really enjoy.
He's not kidding.
No, I enjoy that clones now have the extra option of adding a mustachioed man. I know it's a helmeted man, but I want to paint a mustache on all of my little helmet icons now because it's mustachioed.
Just print some little heads. Get some heads from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, being
From
so
Mel's
zoomed
Miniatures,
out, it does
whoever it
kind of
is.
just look like a little mustachio.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But you now have the option of bringing more things, and for your clone squads, and it really makes them feel like true squads, and I think that really helps with the war feeling. And I'm a little bit sad that Storms can't do it yet. I mean, I appreciate that maybe there's a chance we could do it down the road.
I
Right.
don't.
I'm a
I
little
don't
surprised
think they
didn't
will.
do that. I'm a little surprised they didn't do that, but that's okay. I still really like it for clones. I think it's a really cool design space to be able to say, okay, you have your heavy for sure, but also you have a leader and extra guys if you want them, sure. But
Yeah, and it's a cool way for them, when they lost the phase 1 and phase 2 options. Now you have a million different options. How many quad leaders are there? 5 or 6. And then
Yeah, something
there's
like
a
that.
couple of them are unique and a couple of them are generic.
well, and I feel like a lot of people have been complaining about. Oh God, listen, I'm trying not to go too far down this road. People have been complaining about, well, I lost my phase 2s and I lost my phase 1s, and now what do I do? You didn't. You got the best of both worlds. You have a
You really did.
You have a Swiss Army knife that can do whatever
Yep.
you need it to do. If you just want to bring a bunch of bodies, then bring the backup squad attachment, and now you have a bunch of bodies, and it's just good all around. It is a well-rounded unit, like a clone
in
should
the
be.
faction that was tightest on points, you lost your core options for sure, but you got none of the good stuff from the phase 2 fell off, right? It's just the phase 2 card,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
fire
the unit,
support, which went away
the
from
unit-
the entire faction. I mean,
the unit card, except for the name and losing fire support, is a phase 2. Like,
Yeah.
it's bravery 2 with reliable
Yes,
1.
it's a phase
But
2.
it's also cheap. It's also cheaper though, right? Than the phase 2
Yes,
was.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's 4
Yes,
points
yes.
cheaper than a phase
Yes.
2 used to be, and you get to bring phase 1 weapons into the squad.
Right.
Right.
Which
So
is a big
you
one.
can bring your shotgun and your RPS. The only exclusion is the DC-15. That one
pour
is
one out.
excluded from the list
For
right
now.
now.
For now.
For now,
I think
yeah.
we,
for now.
I think we've been hinted that it's coming back somehow.
Yeah, they've already
But,
said it'll come back.
They've already said it'll be
Yeah,
done.
I think the
March 9th.
second core option will be involving that long gun. So.
And I understand, we were talking about this a little bit about this before the show started, but I understand the idea of like, well, do I roll in phase 1s or phase 2s as far as like models, physical models go? Run
Yes.
both. I mean, I wouldn't run them together, but like say like, okay, these are my phase whatever. Like they're all just the same group of clone troopers,
Right.
and just figuring out like this squad is going to look this way. It's no different than if you just modeled them a little bit differently, like with different helmets or
Right.
whatever. Like it's just
And I'm not a
different way to
Republic
do that.
player. I always had to ask my opponent, are those phase 1s or phase 2s? Because like
Yeah.
my eyes aren't
On
most
the
amazing.
table,
If I'm
yeah.
if
Sure.
I'm standing at the table, I can't tell.
Yeah.
I
some
You've
always
been
ask
drinking after 2
Yeah,
losses? Yes.
Which I mean, I've been
Usually
it's
we are, yes.
usually drinking. Yeah. So,
But now, whichever like style of clone you prefer, you can just make your whole army that, essentially.
Yep.
Right, exactly.
And every clone release so far has phase 1 or 2 modeling options.
yeah.
right.
Except for the cores that had to be phase 1 or phase 2. Like
Right.
you get the helmets for the arcs, or the bark drivers have different helmets.
Right.
So now you can fully commit if your hobby is like, I love phase 1s and I want my whole army to be phase 1. Now you can do it
Cool,
and
go
not
for
have
it.
to proxy.
Right.
You know?
Well, and
So
likewise,
it satisfies either what Tim said of just mixing it all together, or the person that was bothered that they had to
Right.
mix them together beforehand.
right. Well, and I mean, not for nothing. I love the look of the phase 2s. I always like bringing them because I just think they look cooler on the table. I think they have a cooler look.
Yeah.
And now I can bring them all together, and I don't have to worry. I mean, Ryan's absolutely right. No one has to worry about, is that a 1? Is that a 2? Oh, what does it do? Hey, they're all clones. They all do. They're clone infantry squad.
They are clone trooper infantries.
Yeah.
They get their courage too. They get their little surgery tokens.
All you got to worry about is the heavy and the unit leader, or squad leader, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, I mean, I love the squad leaders in part because I always felt they should have made the clone commanders themselves, like we did with the leaders and droids. Like, I love the idea that there's only one of them, but they have a subtitle name.
Sure.
So this kind of does something very similar. What gives you that squad identity. I mean, and in the new deployment stuff, I think Waxer may actually come back out.
Oh,
that
100%.
Scout
Getting
one
Scout.
from there, Discipline
Scout.
one. I mean,
Scout is so good, and
yeah,
I'm gonna kind of jump ahead here. Ben talks about how he misses his deployment zones. The way you deploy obviously is completely changed, and when I first read prepared positions, and I saw that it was all over my Echo Base list, I saw, because of the horrible things that have happened to me in my Legion experiences, of deploying further forward than everyone else just means I'm going to get annihilated. If you poke your head out first, you die first. So when I saw that everything in Echo Base that I hold near and dear, other than my Tauntauns, has prepared positions, I was like, I have to deploy first. My opponent gets to see what I'm going to do before the round starts, And then I played it, and it was pretty dope. I was I was wholeheartedly wrong. Usually it takes a couple episodes after I make a declarative statement to be wrong about something, but we figured something out at least before we recorded. The new deployment rules, but especially prepared positions, are nutty. Alternating activations like you would deploying in your territory, like in the old game. But now you just do it and you get a dodge token. And some of those units that I have that do it have fire support, so they're hopefully starting with some standy buys. The first game I played of it, Will brought a bunch of arcs that he wanted to charge into my lines, and he had some flamer ATRTs, and he knew he just had to bring those out to soak all the standbys, and I killed 2 activations of ATRTs before my commanders deployed.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to clear the standby so the arcs could could scout and then double move up and try to be in melee range for turn 2. But prepared positions really let me leverage the fact that he was having to walk towards me and I was already there, because you start much further apart now because you start off the board and have to move on to it. So I think that prepared positions and coming off back to Waxer, Scout, just saving you actions is humongous. Absolutely humongous.
I mean, if you've got the points to clone captain, outmaneuver, defend 1, that's a hell of a thing on a unit like that.
Yeah, and we haven't talked about the mission specifically, and we'll talk about those probably at later dates. But having those guys just to sit on your back caps, and not necessarily join the main bulk of your fighting force, but like you have to babysit every objective token now. It's not like a VAP that you can go and hit and then run away from because it's not going to be important anymore. You got to go somewhere else. This you always have to have somebody everywhere, and that's a great little backline guy. And it's cool that you have a guy who can do that.
Especially now that you can order any unit anywhere.
Unlimited range orders, baby.
Oh, that's a different world, baby.
That is a different world.
I don't like it.
As someone who really wanted to do cool stuff with Tauntauns, and my Tauntauns always ran it's range 3 away from Leia, I can now do cool stuff with Tauntauns.
Yep.
I was just salty that Ben can start his B1 order chain from anywhere.
Yep.
Do I have an order to it?
I do. A good droid player was going to do that anyway. Like, I mean,
not once he had 4 units left, and I had to pull it. He had to spread his army out with what he had left.
I had to pull a Roger and still manage to order everything.
It's not like AI matters anymore anyway. So who cares?
It really doesn't. It got me once. The Magnus had to run into the battle they were already going to run into.
They had to AI move when they were going to anyway.
Bad batch.
No.
I was
think-
forced to do the thing I was going to do. How dare you, game?
I think AI is still printed on cards because AMG and Asmodee own stock in an ink company.
Yeah, it's, just ignore it, especially if you bring a
All right.
super attack.
There is a place where it's going to get you. It's going to be weird when it gets you. It is. It's going to be weird when it gets you. Because
That's like saying
theoretically, you could
independent
die
is
without
going
a
to
leader.
get you.
Yeah, I mean, your leader could die.
Yeah. If
and you
can-
don't
if
nominate
can
another one until the next round. I mean,
Yep.
there's still all that
You
doesn't
can try
happen.
to
So
snipe a commander, but as we talked about with backup, that's more difficult than it used to be.
yes, also very true. Yes,
So, but yeah,
I like the squad leaders, and I like the prepared positions. I haven't
Yeah.
seen any of it because as a guy who doesn't have that keyword anywhere on any of my units, I was like, I'm going to get one. That doesn't seem like worthwhile. Maybe I'm not sure. I'm not real sure who I would put that on in my squad if I just get the one from the advantage.
I think just 3 units have it, and then you can give it to any one unit with one of your advantage cards.
I don't know.
It's not a lot of places right now.
Can I put prepared on a B2 squad with all the boys?
If you get that
get the
strategy,
advantage
if they
card.
have the advantage card, you absolutely can.
Ooh,
Yeah.
doggy.
Yeah.
Doggy.
I think the Garrison advantage card will go in almost everybody's deck. I think it's that good.
Yeah, I
Don't get me
think
wrong.
it. I mean, it seems underwhelming on your first read, but
Yeah, once
the
and
more
that's,
Yeah.
I think the more people play, the more they'll realize,
Mhm.
oh, that's what that means.
that's what that does.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
prepare
Something else
position,
that's-
10 out of 10.
Something else that's changed a lot is just how much charge is in the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 says charge.
It's a lot more than I was expecting.
And
Surprise.
not just charge. Charge is showed up on fleets, on arcs, but also a lot of both primary and secondary weapons just gained melee to range.
A lot
So,
of
like-
like range
I
2
love
weapons gained melee as an
Yes. Yes.
Fives is melee to 3. The clone shotgun went from pretty bad to very, very good now because it's still range 2, but it's melee to 2, and now it's 2 red pierce 1. It's the fleet gun now.
It's the fleet gun, which also is the fleets all around except everything but the blast gun that
Stupid
no one ever
bloop
took.
gun.
Yeah, is now all melee range.
Yep.
So fleets are terrifying in melee right now, especially if you take the big boy squad. 18
and
white
even,
dice, 2 red dice, pierce 1. Sign me up.
Saboteurs are melee to 1 now. And they're just
Saboteurs are melee?
a weapon.
Yep.
Oh,
They're just
speaking
a
of
weapon now.
saboteurs, the weapon on my saboteur, so which I have complained bitterly about, that poison gun
You've
weapon
always
did
been
nothing.
sad about your Dioxys football. I know.
I have. Yeah, because white, black never hit anything to cause a poison token. I think we're
Right.
going to find some poison tokens come back.
Yeah,
do.
I think
they're
they're
spooky.
all a rainbow except for Empire, who for some reason is a rainbow +1.
Yeah, just because they're the special boys.
Yeah, they get an
It
extra
might
black
be,
die.
yeah. But BXs are especially terrifying because with the swords they get charge, so you can
Yep.
charge in,
Yep.
stab them, and poison them all at once.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's
Yeah,
I
fine.
think
their asses.
For the
humans are
rebels
dead.
being the only ones in the movies we see actually deploy saboteurs, they probably have the worst of them. Not that it's bad; it's definitely
Well,
not.
it's impact, right?
It's impact 4, yeah.
But you know what
Yeah,
you
so
can't.
you bring that and an impact grenade and,
And
you
a impact
blow the
grenade for
hell out
impact
of
7.
something.
Yeah.
But you know what you can't do anymore? You can't have your units ride around in a transport, because that
Yeah, you can.
you
Oh,
can't
here we
have
go.
them transport. What the? This is listen. I like almost all these changes. Like we're at like a 90% love of all
Let-
these
let-
changes.
let
I'm
him
here
do his
for
thing,
it.
boys. Let him
Let
do
me
his thing.
cook.
We'll-
Listen
We'll
here.
rebuttal. It's fine.
What the hell is the point of a transport if I can't fucking transport the unit? And I know you're gonna say, well, it lets you spit it out. Then just give me spit it out keyword and skip the transport bullshit. Why are we wasting everybody's time? Why are we calling things a transport? If I got listen, if you own a minivan and you open both side doors of that minivan,
I'll be back in about 20
and
minutes,
I just
fellas.
walk through the minivan. If I sit in the chair, slide over, and then get out the other side, did I get transported according to this new game?
Yeah. Transport's a new way to get onto the battlefield other than the deploying from the edge. We talked about prepared positions, infiltrate. All the things I really like about this game are all the cool turn 1 stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess I'll throw scout in here too.
Yeah.
Infiltrate just now lets you drop kind of like prepared positions anywhere in your territory, but now instead of being a prepared position where your opponent before you play your first command card gets to see where you're going, now you can go anywhere in your territory when you would first activate that unit. You don't get the dodge token that prepared positions gives you, but being able to just drop down is pretty sick. So it's infiltrate, and then scout lets you take that free move onto the board, so it doesn't eat up one of your 2 actions, like deploying onto the board would. And that's the other benefit of transport is you get to move the transport speed, and then you go a speed 1 away from the transport, and it's not one of that unit's actions. And you get transport gives you a free order, which is another nice little bonus.
Yeah, so like I played R2D2, who has infiltrate now, and I was able to hold his token till like the second to last deploy of turn 1. So Ben kept angsting about where R2 would go because he hates R2 with a passion.
And you don't have to make that decision yet. You get to really see how the battlefield's going to turn out.
And I got to actually play Ben like I played Ben where I was like I waited for one of his Ion Spiders to drop, and then he's like, I'm holding this spider for... He was holding a spider and Magna Guards, and I was like, if I put R2 way over here, he's going to put something really important here to just fight R2, so I'm going to do that now.
I'm going to go do that now, yeah.
Ben dropped both Magna Guards across from R2, just like, I'm killing the robot. I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Playing my new and improved best buddy Bistin, who now has infiltrate, and having a range 4 infiltrate unit, getting to watch everyone walk onto the field and then drop a Bistin who no longer exhausts down onto the field and just aim and shoot and not have to worry about recovering and got critical 1. Oh my God, the Church of Bistin is back, baby.
It's a thing that I love to see happen. It really is a thing I love to see happen.
Yeah, it's super cool.
That Ion changes. It's delightful.
Why don't you tell us about him?
So, Ion Spiders, you're used to, like, I got to get the tokens, and I also got to do the refresh, which means I'm going to shoot. I have to really spend a lot of points into making sure I can shoot every turn.
Right.
You don't have to do that at all. It's just 30 points for the weapon and the spider and the little upgrade there. So, it means I used it every round that was possible.
For sure.
Every time.
Ion
all
is... all of the Ion weapons, including the vehicle-mounted ones, lost their refresh.
They did,
which is awesome.
Which is awesome.
I think they all gained critical 1, which is great.
They did.
You got a cool Ion Spider. I got an upgrade for my Rebel Troopers that didn't exist for 6 years.
Yeah,
the Ion
the
torpedo.
MPL Ion guy is not worthless anymore.
Hey, I lost to a guy that ran 6 of them.
That sounds like a you problem, sir.
It was frightening. There were so many of
it's
them.
Just one of those. Now, Ion did change. You don't automatically lose an action, which is a good thing.
Treat them like suppression tokens. Yep,
yeah, you like suppression. You got to roll for them, see if they're suppressed. But it's really, really, like I said, but that just means I got more hits out of my spider.
For sure.
I use it consistently over and over again.
What happens?
What
happens if you have Ion and you're damaged?
You roll for both, and if you lose both actions, you do nothing.
You lose both actions.
Wow, I hate that. Thanks.
Cool. Or you could stack Ion tokens. Like, I'm really looking hard. There's it's 100 points. I can get the new X-34 with the double tapping Ion guns and being able to zip out of the gate and then drop 4 Ion tokens in a turn.
You lose an action per blink you roll per Ion token. So, I mean, just like how 2 Ions you just turn your turn off, it's like if you have 2 Ions, you roll and have a 1/3 chance of getting an action. But if you roll double blank, your activation is over, and you remove Ion tokens.
I wish this game didn't hate vehicles. That's all.
That's all. Well, with vehicles having one weakness is fine.
I think it's less. It's actually less punishing to vehicles because now
they
you
have a chance
roll
of it
against
not doing it. Yeah,
instead of automatically.
It used to be guaranteed.
Yeah.
Which is why being Ion as a droid player was like, well, this unit will do nothing because I could get it on all
I cannot wait to spam Ion and just like freeze Magna Guards in the middle of the field. Oh my God.
You do have to wound them for it to stick.
It's true, you do. But you could do that earlier if you just had an Ion, but you had to bring Ion, which no one did.
And I had to
even
recover.
Droid poppers no one brought. Yes.
Yeah.
And suppression was a
like
big
the Ion
issue.
change a lot.
Yeah, the Ion change is awesome.
And again, it's I won't say they hate vehicles, Tim, because my spiders are much better now.
Yeah.
Droidicas are absolutely the cat's meow because the AI change.
Because the AI change, yep, for sure.
I mean, they are fantastic.
And they got a huge points cut.
Yeah.
Yes, and because defensive tech is now more important,
Mm-hmm.
I won't get cover, but the shields are still very much matter.
Oh yeah.
Unless they have Ion, then it turns them shields right off.
Yep. Well,
So-
it turns one of them off.
Turns one of them off, but that's, one
put
more
something
damage
in.
getting through, potentially.
Yep.
Speaking of damage not getting through things, deflect.
That was a change that I
talk about it.
love.
Yes.
I actually love, which is weird because I don't play any kind of force users whatsoever.
Right.
But that's exactly why I think we needed it, because it made no sense to me that I'm just going to get my stuff shot because I didn't have a dodge token.
Right.
I've watched these movies. It's a lot of pew 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 and a lot of ting shing ting. ting,
Playing a
block all
Jedi
that.
felt like dodge token management because it was so
Yes,
important
it
to
did.
carry one
It really
around the
did.
entire game. And characters
which
that
is
had
why
more free
vigilance
dodge
became such a
cards.
huge deal.
Yeah, vigilance, free dodge, command cards. Those are the things that
Exemplar,
like made a Jedi.
yeah.
Those things made
Yes.
a Jedi good or bad. And now it's less like swingy on how much damage you'll deal back, but it's more reliable that you're just not going to get punked off the table immediately by rolling 6 blanks and surges.
In one of my
So-
games with Will, he played Anakin both times, and Anakin dealt more. And I know it was just the variance of the rolls. Anakin dealt more damage via deflect than he did with his lightsaber.
Right. Yeah,
You
it's
love to see it. You love to see it.
so
I actually did not love to see that.
basically if a Jedi has deflect, when they're defending against ranged, they get the old deflect ability without having to spend a dodge.
Yep,
But-
they all surge to block at range. Yep,
Yeah. However,
Well,
if they
almost all Jedi.
almost all
there's-
Jedi.
There's one still sad boy.
Now,
Inquisitors only have
all of
block
them.
as well.
Like you don't convert all of them to damage. You just throw back.
You
Correct.
just do one damage.
Rather
yeah.
than every surge dealing a damage, if you roll any surge results, the attacker suffers 1 wound. But since
Which I
that's
know is sad
happening
because
every
I did watch Will destroy a unit one time. Just like,
It's
Oh,
true.
No, I fire supported a Luke and he killed an entire phase
Oh, that's
1
right.
is
I
what
remember
happened.
that. I watched that happen
Yeah.
online.
Steven
times.
Sylvia,
It was being
I
streamed.
remember.
He doesn't listen to our show. It's
I
fine.
remember.
I remember. But since it's happening every time you shoot at a Jedi, like Ryan said, it's probably going to happen more often. You'll see at least one surge and go, oh, damn it. And one of your guys, bang, gets pinged back for a wound. So I think it helps Jedi deal with range shots, but also it makes it less annoying to do dodge management.
Usually you had to clear them like before they got to you, and like you needed tons of line of sight to be able to maneuver your Jedi around to hopefully
Right.
by turn 4 get them into your opponent's lines. Between the deflect change and backup, they gonna get to you. You have to have an answer for Jedi. It's somewhere in your army. It doesn't have to be a great answer, and they've added some more, especially with the beefier squad sizes you can pay for.
Is Obi-Wan the only one that has deflect and guardian?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. They very specifically play that out in the deflect keyword inside the RG. But
Well,
I
it's
was like, I think he's
because
the only one.
Obi-Wan didn't used to have deflect because it was baked in to Sorasu. But now the
Gotcha.
Sorasu got a nice little change.
Yeah, all
They also had to put it on him, which is good because I always hated like having to look up his cards and answer rules questions about deflect. I'm like, but he doesn't have it. But
it counts as deflect for immune deflect, but it's not deflect because you can still spend dodges on high velocity. Technically, it was weird.
Yeah.
So now
Nested
they've
keywords
clarified
there.
that out a lot better.
Yep, for sure.
Also, high velocity ignores deflect. Just blanket.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So that's a neat little bonus for your snipers.
Well,
Yeah. So even if
basically
you're
did, but yeah.
not wanting to, usually I don't want to shoot my snipers at Jedi because they're pierce immune, and that's what I'm
Right.
paying for snipers for. But if I have an 18% likelier chance to wound, now it's tempting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Talking about Jedi being able to get to your lines more reliably, a lot of Jedi point costs have gone down,
Yes.
so that it's more
Yes.
feasible to have your own like counter Jedi, or have a.
Well, that's not the only reason they went down, but
That's not the only reason, but it helps you bring a Jedi if to have a melee threat to respond to melee threats.
I
Let's
don't know
talk
that this
about
is
it,
in our
because
notes.
we
Let's
actually-
talk about it. Yeah.
We nearly forgot it. I actually had to add this somewhere about minute 20 because we didn't talk about
We didn't talk about
force push.
Yeah.
I don't.
All of the Jedi went down approximately 20 points. I I think the only one who didn't was
At
Yoda
least.
because he was
Yeah.
probably a little undercosted.
No,
In old rules, he went down. I don't think he went down 20.
he went from 200 to 180.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
They all went down about 20 points then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's because force push is now 40 points.
4-0.
Man,
I love to see it.
I
I know people are going to hate me for saying it. It became the thing you had to take because if you didn't take it with a Jedi, you
Yep.
couldn't combat other Jedi doing the thing.
Correct.
And it was, I mean, so it became an auto. So either added it and bake it to the points, or make it so that cost
Right.
prohibitive. You really have to choose that you're going to do this thing,
Right.
and that's a
So you
lot.
can-
Even with 1,000 points, going up 200 more, 40 is a lot.
Yeah. I mean, now you can choose whether you want just the Jedi's basic abilities and other Force user powers, or if you are going full hog to get Force push and really use those abilities like you used to be able to for cheaper. But
Right.
for people that don't like Force push, I guess, you can now bring a Jedi with... Like, you can bring Obi-Wan for 150 with just, like, barrier and reflexes and have him sit there and,
Oh yeah.
you know, bank dodges and guardian and barrier, and then when they come to you, you just charge them when
Right.
you use hello there and all that stuff. So
Are-
certain Jedi, you don't necessarily need Force push, but
Right.
they're making you pay the tax to get it now.
Our boy Commander Luke, who didn't have Master of the Force and just had the single Force slot, like
Yeah,
he's real interesting now because he's down to 120 points.
right.
They finally gave him some of the upgrade slots he was missing. They kind of retweaked some of his weapon profiles, but he's interesting now. But I will say, like, I was really hesitant about the Force push change, because for me it was like how Jedi played Legion, like they were Force push vehicles who also sometimes did other things. With the new withdrawal rules and how important proximity is to every single one of the objectives, it's a hard change, but it's a good change.
Yes.
I agree with that. I think I know other like people have said this. I'm pretty sure the devs have said this. I don't like auto include cards. I really don't.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
I
don't
agree.
like.
No, I agree.
I like.
It should be a choice.
Obviously, there are some cards that are going to be better than others, and that's going to ebb and flow. Force push up until now has never ebbed. It has only flowed. Like,
Right.
It has only
Right,
ever
for
been
sure,
good.
for sure.
And so I do think it's a little steep. I think with all the other changes that have gone on, but yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I do think, especially with the withdraw change,
Yeah.
it is a little too steep now that withdraw is far less punishing. It's still punishing, but far less so. Then maybe force push could come back down in cost. But we'll see. Time will tell. I've looked at playing Luke a handful of times with Commander and Operatives. I've been tinkering with all the new points.
Yeah.
Force push has never made the cut.
Nope. Again, this is my point: is that there's so many interesting force powers, and now we have room to make even more. And now you can actually consider taking them.
right.
And I will say, remember at the beginning of this game when Grievous was point costed like he was a Jedi without access to any of
Right.
the Jedi materials.
Yeah.
Now he sits at 130 points.
It's
But he's
crazy.
trained in the Jedi
That-
arts.
He's trained in
He
the
is
Jedi
trained in the
arts.
arts.
He is, baby.
He's also like 8 wounds, but
Yeah, I mean, he is amazing for that because they
Yeah.
they finally realized,
Yeah,
and
he's
we've
a
been
problem.
talking about this for the last
he's
year
a
and a
problem.
half or more.
Yeah.
We have been talking about it on this podcast. Not that we're clearing calls. It's not that they're listening to us because clearly they're not.
they're literally not.
I hope they're not.
But it's one of those. But that's something we've been talking about. Force push was too easy.
Yep.
I mean, it was. It was too.
I mean, we had
too
a whole
cheap.
episode dedicated to this debate
Yes,
where
we
each
did.
of us
Yep.
brought our own solutions, and none of
So
us
I'm
agreed
very
on
glad to
anything,
see
and
this
we
change.
agreed that the game should just stay the way it is. But
Yeah.
I think
Can you talk
But
about the
speaking
pro
of-
gamer move though of the Inquisitor training turning off force push now?
Yep.
turning off a 40-point card for 5 points or whatever it is.
Yes. Oh god.
yeah.
It's a 50-50,
because-
but still.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 for 5 points versus your 40.
Yeah.
But listen,
Oh yeah.
it was not the most powerful force card out there because they had to ban one.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Force lift is no more.
It's true. Nothing is more
Crazy.
powerful.
Force lift shall not terrorize our tables any longer.
It shall no
Crazy.
longer terrorize our tables.
Now, I will say one thing, talk about Inquisitors real quick. it should be noted that while Inquisitors are strong because now they're easier to get into melee a little bit quicker, and you're turning off 40 point force powers, they don't have deflect. So all those deflect
They have
changes.
block.
They have block.
They have block. Same with Commander League.
Right. But I'm
and
saying
Grievous.
they don't have exactly the same thing. So just
Right.
FYI.
But dealing back the damage.
But I think for how expensive they are, where they're costed,
No,
now
it's
that
fine.
backup is a thing,
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
Oh, yeah. I'm not
Yeah.
They do
complaining.
benefit from backup.
No, I'm not complaining.
So-
Speaking of backup, I think this is one of my favorite additions. Is the addition for every core trooper to be able to bring a squad, an additional squad.
A shit ton more.
Yeah, an additional squad within that same squad. And I'm sure
Yes.
I'm sure there's other casts that are going to deep dive the logistics of which one's better, but it's being able to have everything behind one activation and just having so much weight behind one activation is just so nice. Oh my god.
It's Fleet Troopers. Holy cow, is it Fleet
my
Troopers?
But like, well, Ben, you were talking about Geonosians before. Like Geonosians with extra bodies are an overrun and things like that. Like that's really scary. That's a lot. It's a lot of dudes.
Now they're actually doing things. I can be engaged in melee, and you're going to shoot through them. You are.
You
But I have probably 2 more activations with them because there's that. many more
Saint Boyle. Saint Boyle's gonna have a fat squad.
Boyle can
Fat
die in a
squad.
fire.
No, he can't. That's the point.
That's
Now
exactly-
he won't.
He's
He
been
will
stacking
slowly
bodies
die
around him
one
like
by one.
cordwood. He's like, I'm still alive.
He's gonna never die, and even if you lose the
How
game,
expensive is that squad?
Like 100.
doesn't matter.
Hang on. I'll go
What?
over it.
What?
It's a-
Boyle
surely
in
has-
the
it
back.
has to be
Boyle in
more
the
than
full
100.
squad. It's 132.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's 10
But-
ablative guardian wounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a. that's,
Plus 11. Let's see. You're putting a heavy weapon
Yeah,
in there.
you put the mortar in there for 20 points more, and there you go.
The only thing that makes me a little sad about the squads, well, 2 things kind of do. The shores, and I get why, the shores and the rebel vets, since they have the prepared position, they are so much more expensive
Yes.
per
Oh,
wound
yes.
True.
than their counterparts.
Yes.
And the other one that made me sad, there are 2 units that the double stuff squads like scream to you is going to be awesome. At least when I saw those rules, and it was B1s and Ewok skirmishers.
Oh God.
Well, the sad thing is the Ewok skirmishers only add 4 minis.
Oh.
It doesn't get
yeah.
the full
Oh,
the full
no.
treatment that the B1s get. So, because the most of the regular squads are 5, Ewoks are 4, and B1s I think are 7. How much do you get for how many extra minis do you get for?
Let's see.
You're the droid player.
Oh.
Well, he didn't use any on Saturday because we didn't
Yeah.
want to
I
spawn
did
that
because
many
the
B1s.
point cost. The point cost actually got me.
The
it
B1
really
battle
did.
squad adds 7 B1 battle droids.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so it feels a little bad that the Ewoks only get 4, but I also get it. I get it because I think if they did more, then you wouldn't be able to field an entire Ewok set out of a box of Ewok expansions. So, but that's it's a cool change. I'm anxious to see what that does with it. I don't think all of the squads, if you have the points, I don't think you automatically double up. You do get a dominable across the board if you double them up, which is really cool.
Yeah,
So
it helps the giant unit
you're-
not lose actions
Yeah.
as easily.
You're investing all your points into this thing. If it only gets 1 action, that's really sad.
Right.
I don't love it for the Rebel Troopers because you want to spend those points to get as many sources of agile on the field, or nimble agile as possible. But holy cow, the Fleet Troopers, now that they got charge.
Well, and
yeah.
I don't think it's something
Yeah.
you should do to every squad. You know.
No, for sure.
I think most
and I
armies
did it
will
once
have
just to see
maybe
what would
one.
happen, just to see if it would be fun, and I deleted all the points. Like, so, as a B1 player, sometimes you go with the invasion force just so I can have 8 of them. But sometimes you're like, well, now I'm at my max core. I can't do anything else with it. All right, and now what do I spend points on? So at 38 points for me to add 7, that's a lot for me. I mean, because my squad started at 6. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
worth
you
it.
almost-
It actually is.
You almost pay as much as like clones do for your core at that point.
right.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep. But
Imagine
also all
list
white
building with
dice,
that
but-
few points.
But also, you get the cohesion bubble of range 1.
Right.
1/2.
So I'm going to coordinate the bejesus.
No,
out
if
of
you
people.
if you put the full squad, it's full range 1 cohesion bubble.
Oh,
yeah, go look
fuck
at it.
me.
All of them, yeah. And I'm indomitable, which doesn't really matter until it does.
I mean,
Until it does.
it
It
does for
actually
removing
does.
those suppression.
Right.
Yep.
Kind of tangentially to another stealth change that went through. You don't upgrade going back to cover. You don't upgrade your cover anymore. When you have a suppression token, you only gain it when you are suppressed.
Right.
So that's a
I like
a
that.
cool
I like
little
that a lot,
change. Yeah, I really like that change. Like if you're, it's not like the I want the Courage 2 unit with the 1 suppression, but not 2 to threaten losing an action. Like you either take the benefit and the bane, or you know just play your normal game.
Yeah. I had my 5 squad hop out and got shot by Ben, and I immediately was like, "Oh, cool, cover." I was like, "Wait, no,
Wait,
they're bravery 3." Whoops.
Yeah.
So I had to wait for Ben to shoot me 3 times, and
That's
then
right.
I got cover,
Exactly.
which I'm sure Ben appreciated as he tried to shoot me to death.
It was quite,
Since-
quite successfully. Quite
since,
successfully. Have I had.
But since all your clone trooper infantry are bravery 2, you do not take cover as easily as other squads
Right.
do.
Yeah.
This is true.
But also cover doesn't do as much for you, so it's all
Correct.
kind of
Yeah.
fine.
Getting just light cover is kind of just like a shrug. It's like, oh, cool, a 6-up save first. Neat. Maybe I'll block 1. But going from light to heavy feels a little more impactful. Like, how many times
Sure.
have you seen the rebel surging
Yeah.
white die
Oh,
just
for sure.
spike out
Absolutely.
of hell? I think
Yeah.
in me and Ben's game, I rolled once on like 6 cover dice and blocked 4, and I was like, oh god,
You did.
okay.
I've never done
You
that.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to believe in the dice, Ryan.
I know it's something I don't
Stop talking down to them, and they'll appreciate you.
do.
We talked about this when
Maybe.
I joined the droids. You just, when you have no faith in them, when they do anything, you're super
Yeah.
impressed
Yeah.
by it. You know, like, I expect nothing and got 1? Hell yeah.
Exactly.
Kite man. I mean, you just go through with it. So, so other things that I was also not expecting. I wasn't expecting the change to detachments.
Oh my god, it's so good. I'm gonna
It's
freeze on
solid.
this for a
It's
minute.
solid.
I think it affects rebels more than anybody else, because of K2SO specifically.
Okay.
Detachment
Well, the strike
loss.
squads. We all get strike squads.
We all get strike squads, and
But his operative
detachments
slot.
no longer count against your maximum for that's squad or for your force organization.
Yeah.
It does count
Unit
towards your
type,
minimums.
yes.
But it doesn't count towards your maximums. And so you bring a set of rebel vets, you can bring your Mark II. I can bring 6 vets and 6 Mark IIs if I really want to. The range restriction of like when they deploy, they no longer have to go to speed 1 of each other to like make awkward deployments. They don't have to deploy in a certain order anymore. And the universal change is now all your strike teams, to kind of make sure that strike team spam isn't going to be a thing. All the strike teams are now detachments, which is pretty cool.
So you have to bring a full
So you
unit.
got to bring a
then-
full one.
Yeah.
Yep, you
To
have to bring a
unlock
full
the
unit,
strike team.
and then you can get the strike team. The neat thing about it, though, it doesn't so much mess with the strike teams or the commando type units because they have scout already. But if they have a parent, whatever their parent unit is, if they have detachment or not detachment, excuse me, like infiltrate, scout, or prepared position, whoever they're detached to gets the same thing, which is pretty dope.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, didn't realize that.
Yep. And so if you like, the Mark II doesn't have prepared position on it, but because their parent unit, I have to take a vet in order to take them, they also get whatever the vet has. And so Cassian now, if you can bring another commander to covert ops Cassian in, K2 doesn't count against your 2 operative maximum. So you can now bring K2 2 other operatives and then turn Cassian into an operative to have a 4 operative list, and it's pretty dope.
Do you still need a commander to not be
Yes,
converted?
you still need another
Yeah.
commander, so Cassian, because that's a condition for Cassian to become an operative, is there has to be another commander.
Right. I know they added that earlier.
But
this-
you just gave me
yeah.
200 extra points, baby. That's Leia Organa and some change.
Right.
And I've
So-
always liked the full Rebel Commando squad.
Yeah,
I've always liked those black dice that are surging at range 3.
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
and all the other tools they get. So I love this detachment of the sniper.
Yeah.
The 2-man teams always felt a little odd to me. They did.
Well, and the 2-man teams are gonna be I'll say it now, they're gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
They kind of went away for a while because of the cover rules, and it was really hard for especially the Civil War snipers that were either black and white or black dice that to get up and over cover despite the sharpshooter 1. But now that you're just rolling against cover, and it's not, again, you're rolling bad dice against cover, those little 2-die chip shots with Pierce attached to them are gonna get some real work done.
Yeah. Especially since arcs are so crazy for clones, you're going to see a lot of 3 clone, 3 arc
Yeah.
strike team
Oh, yeah.
lists
Yeah.
happening.
Oh yes.
And especially in the ARC's case, like the ARC sniper got very expensive.
Yes, it did.
But I don't think you put it on the main guys because they have charge now.
Right.
So you run 3 almost naked guys just to go gum up the works and fight over objectives, and you got 3 snipers in the back throwing red.
Red black. One of them
black?
has a red
Okay.
because he's Echo.
Yeah, but you're still gonna force 1 or 2 wounds with shared surges and share name tokens.
I think you put a clone commander on all the big boy arc squads.
Yeah, you can.
okay,
It's
you
only
can,
22
for sure.
points for a reliable one, and let's see, an inspire one. Yeah, you do that.
And unless I'm wrong, and I'm not 100% on this because there's been some goofy changes with cards being removed and added.
Sure.
The clone sniper rifle is no longer on the errata list.
Yes, the
So I
critical
think
is
they're-
back.
So
critical is back?
technically it is. Yes. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know if that's official yet or not. I haven't heard.
I mean,
yeah.
they had to deliberately take it off the list, right?
Yeah.
True.
The only other
True.
goofy one is they reprinted 3 Anakin command cards, but they removed specifically 2 of them were just the same name, so you use the updated card, but one of them wasn't. But it was specifically the one that caused all the problems, so we're pretty sure that one's just an oversight. But who knows? We'll see.
Sorry, y'all have been talking about these things, and that's very important. I've been paying attention to the Imperial Scout Trooper, which is a unit I know Tim does not enjoy. I know he doesn't enjoy it. And
That's
partially
not
because
true.
the black dice will be black, they'll be blank.
That's not.
And you're like, what the? You'll re-roll it, they'll be
I
blank.
actually enjoyed them a lot. I just don't play them. That's all.
But the Sonic Charge Saboteur is 23
Yeah.
points.
Yeah, he is.
And he throws 4 dice, a red, a white, and 2 black. One, melee to 1, impact
good.
2, suppressive, and blast. I mean, you paired that up with a grenade, a frag grenade real fast. Yeah, you are gross at
Yeah.
range,
I mean-
at range 1.
Huntsman obliterated me with full scout teams, so I know what they can
giving
do.
them surge to crit with an extra red and white die. Absolutely.
Mhm.
And it's only 76 points.
Yep.
Like, it's not a lot. Yeah.
All I'm saying, if you're a clone player that's out there and you're a little bit sad about how you're feeling, is that you can get to 13x with
Yep.
Delta Squad, double clone commando, triple arc with clone commander, triple arc sniper strike teams, triple clone infantry, one of them fully loaded with thick boil, and then a clone commander. So, like,
Yep.
you still got plenty of hope
Cool.
out there, kids. You still got tricks.
And now you share tokens at range 2.
Yep. Still only
So
one.
you can actually
All
spread
that
out.
reliable.
Yeah, everyone's
So
reliable. Everyone's fine. Yeah.
I
The
think
reliable
I've seen some
sharing
21,
actually mattered.
22
Oh, yeah, for
activation Civil War factions. So it's been pretty neat to see.
Yeah.
I don't think they're particularly good because with the new cover rules, stuff dies fast. If you don't have like super fortified activations, stuff dies real fast.
Sure. Yeah.
I know you don't like the low profile change, Ryan. I know
don't.
that's one of those
That's
new
okay.
keywords you don't enjoy, but
I think the units that really thrived on it. Han, it's probably okay on. Ewok's survivability went into the. I mean, granted, you have 200 extra points, but their survivability went into the tube with the cover changes. Like, they're gonna die even faster now.
I mean, their survivability felt a little too good in some ways. So
True.
Sure.
I'm kind of okay with them getting picked up a little more often.
Yep. I agree with
Yeah, I'll it'll be interesting. I definitely need to get them on the table, especially
'Cause
with like
just-
a wicked scouting party.
Basically guaranteeing 3 blocks on every one of your units, plus however many dodges they had as well. And like the troopers probably didn't have some, but your characters probably had a couple, or you got take covered by another unit or something. It started to feel bad for me the one time I played Ewoks. So
I get it. I do. With these new rules, by the way, Scout 3 on that Imperial Scout Trooper.
Bananas.
is dumb.
Ooh,
Yes.
doggy.
Bananas.
It's a good time. It's a good time for everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, doggy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say the dumbest costed unit.
Don't
the
your
unit
BXs
that
also have it?
Yes, they do.
Yes, you do. Yes.
He's always going to point at the other.
Listen, don't pay attention to my things. My things are very terrible. We're building up the Empire players who feel threatened at the moment.
Sword BXs are going to throw 5 red, 5 white, 1 black in melee with Toxin.
So the
Yes.
MPL
Yes, in fact, I see
57
what's gonna happen.
Rebel Trooper Ion Guy went up to an appropriate amount of cost. He's now actually more than the DLT.
Whoa.
Do you know who didn't get a points adjustment?
The Athorian.
The SX-21 Athorian Blunderbuss Shotgun Impact Bro is still
That's a lot of words.
13 points.
Oh, wow. That seems like that's going to change soon.
Yeah, and now that your Rebel Troopers are agile and nimble to where when they are moving to get to his range 2, they're going to be a lot safer when they get there and throw 4 to 5 black, 2 red, 2 white, and ruin your day.
Yeah.
That's I think he's gonna be sneaky good, and not by sneaky good I mean he's gonna be in every Rebel list that can take them.
Is he cheaper than a body?
No.
He's like what, 4 points over or 5?
He's 4 points over.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna take the captain, that's 1 point over a body, and you're gonna take situational awareness for 66 points. 6-man squad, 66 points.
Jesus.
You can make them 71. You them scout 1, so they can get to you faster.
I don't like this anymore.
Anyway.
Which now provides a dodge token.
I'm gonna go back to Warhammer.
What else we got?
Let's see. Impact grenade change, I think, is a
we
pretty
kinda-
big change.
Yep.
Yeah, we talked about all that already.
Yep, we did.
I mean, yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, I was just gonna say I'd be remiss if we moved on, and I didn't talk about my baby, the E-Web.
Let's talk about some units we're excited for.
Listen, the E-Web. I've asked for years for a range 4 generator. I don't know how far
And they
back.
listen to you.
Yeah, I don't know how far back you could go into the annals of our history to hear me start talking about that. But I've begged for a range 4
At least
generator.
elbow deep.
Please don't go elbow deep in our annals.
At least.
You gotta pay for that on the Patreon.
For our only elbows.
There's no need to listen to older episodes.
Only elbows. But now, and I even said, I was like, it's not like I wanted just to natively have range 4. And they're like, you've been patient, young one. And so here, they gave me some scraps. And so now
that you can't shoot out of your Gav tank, you may have range 4.
They did bring back the cumbersome.
Oh, that's been cumbersome.
It's always had
had
It had cumbersome. It just
It
it
lost-
had plotting.
You're thinking
Lost
it's
plot,
plotting.
way worse.
Okay,
Yes.
that's right. Yes. It was
But
just
yeah,
much
so
worse.
now it's range 4, which is
Yes.
amazing. So now it can actually compete, which is
God, prepare positions.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Not only is
Yeah.
it range 4, but it's also prepared
Yep.
positions, which is starting a range and a half up.
with the dodge.
Yeah. I mean,
Since it's only 4 health.
As the guy who can spawn 15 dodge
still cheap.
tokens,
Yeah.
no one can shoot you back, so they go unspent.
That's all right.
Like
Yes.
unless it's prepared positions versus prepared positions.
That's all right.
That E-Web is going to get some really nice
Oh,
zesty turn 1 shot off.
Some very
yeah.
zesty
Oh,
turn
yeah.
1 shots.
Oh yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I
like
love it
I really
as a
do.
unit that I've loved for a long time, and it sits on my shelf, and I always think of how do I make this useful. And I used to just hope to play on rapid reinforcements, and that was how I made it useful. Or put it in a Gav tank. But yeah.
Yep.
So I love
that's
that. I'm excited to put him back on the
Yeah.
table. So
What about you Clone Wars folks? What are you guys excited for? For change, they got changed.
Go ahead,
So-
Ben.
Grievous is absolutely amazing. Like, he really is. And then I saw the Dooku changes, and I was like, oh my God, Dooku. And then, perhaps I had to go take a break and cool down and take a cold shower. But then someone, and I think it may have been Brett, so I blame him for all this. He's like, hey, Ben, do you know how many B2s you can put on the table at the same time? I was like, yeah, I guess I could add the extra one. I was like, why is that important? He's like, did you see what their range, or their melee weapons are now, and their range 1 wrist rockets? I was like, excuse me?
Yeah.
The range 1 red die, just a single red die, I can fit 14 of those bad boys on the table. Like, it's some god-awful number.
You're burying the lead, homie.
Like, it is amazing to me.
B2s
And the ACM
are
on
good.
top of that?
No, you're still burying the lead.
Yep.
Wait,
It's Dooku.
Wait, clearly
The
it's not my lead,
save.
so...
Look at their defense die,
Oh,
homie.
yes. It can turn into a red die. I mean, and we're bravery 2, and we have 2 health apiece. I mean...
And your
It is
AI
all
attack
the
is
dreams.
just blank.
It
Yep.
is, yes.
It's-
The vapors. I Grievous is fantastic. I played with him my game against Will. I love it. Dooku is now at a place where I feel like I can actually use him. Because I'm not good at Dooku. he died too quickly for me.
Sure.
And he's 165 points. But now Dooku both surges crit and surges defense. Has a 5 red lightsaber with impact 2, pierce 2, plus all the other pieces there.
And
I mean,
all the other Jedi that surge block natively have only had 5 health, but Dooku has 6.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Which, I mean,
Force
everyone...
lightning throws 6 black
and
dice.
can pierce other Jedi. And
Yes.
And can pierce other Jedi. I mean, and still has cunning and deflect now that where you don't have to have the thing, and he gets direct trooper unit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
why not?
That is amazing. If
But
I just
the
want to have
hero-
B1 surround him for backup, but for me, I think it might be the B2.
Yeah, the B2s are going to be nutty with how many you can get.
Oh my god, the B2s.
Yeah, the upgrade adds 4, and then you can still put a heavy in, so it's a, 16...
Delicious.
16 wounds for like 160,
It's 160.
170 points.
I said this
Yeah.
before.
165.
I said this before the show. I almost sold my droids, not because they're bad, but just because I don't really have time for 3 factions.
You were playing them.
Right. I
get you.
It's still true. I still don't. But now I want to even more because now there's so many cool combos.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
And
buy
I think-
12
I'm glad I
boxes of
paid
B2s.
Will
That's
to
my...
build me 2 more sets of B2s.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Grievous
yeah.
has been like over the past 2 years
Getting
Like,
so
but-
much better.
between getting like micro nerfs and then the game's other changes kind of helping him. He's been getting better and better and better and better. And now he just got the same points cut that a lot of the Force users got, and he didn't get hit by the Force push, obviously plug.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't Grievous just gain? Was he Pierce immune before? He was
Indomitable and then
he-
Pierce immune in melee, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
but now he's just immune
straight
Pierce.
Yeah,
Pierce
now it's
period.
just immune
Yeah.
pierce.
Yeah.
Correct.
And I
He's
gained
gross.
Entourage IG 100s.
Yes.
Magna
Oh,
Guard,
it's so
which
good.
he probably should have had at some
So
point.
good.
Yes, it's so good.
Yes.
So I'm going to retinue them as well.
And-
I mean, it's just...
And they
Yeah.
can guardian or not guardian. Excuse me. They can back up him. Yes.
Back up
yes,
him, yep.
Yes.
And his Supreme Commander is so good now.
Yeah, he got I
So
think that was the one
good.
rework, like full rework card CIS
Yeah.
got.
Yes.
Yeah.
He
And
gains Ruthless this round.
and I really
search tokens.
I enjoy not just for droids but just in general. Like I enjoy how many touch-up changes we had that were so needed. They were so because listen, we talked about this before. We don't have to go down this road again, but like we talked
Sure.
about how we needed more than just a points update. We needed some more
Right.
like substantial. Hey, this isn't working. Do something, and they're doing. And even like there's massive changes, but there's also like little tweaks that you might not even notice. Like Krennic. Well, Krennic's 3-pip is fantastic. It was already good.
Yeah.
Now it's
Krennic pretty much got to
just
make
doubled.
Yeah.
Right. Krennic
Yeah.
himself is
Yeah.
great. And then also Krennic's 2-pip, the standby has no range on it anymore, by the way. Like
Yep.
you can just issue
Yeah.
it if you have
Yep.
face up. Boom, go. So yeah, there's just so many little tweaks and adages that I just love.
Because of the Force point change, Asajj is only 130 points now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just a point reduction just because of Force push changes.
Yep. For sure.
I mean, my tactical droids, like I said, they have Exemplar. Like my T series. Like that is fantastic.
A lot of the commanders grabbed Exemplar except for Republic commanders.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and then my
exactly.
exemplar units lost it, so everyone else is exemplary except me because I guess I just
Wrecked.
natively share tokens.
Yeah.
Woe is
boo-hoo.
me.
Yeah, for sure.
Boo is you. My Kraken
I've been
got
delended
a
enough.
a range 3 red dice lethal one.
Yeah, why
Used to
not?
just be 2 black dice. Just used to be 2 black dice. Like 3 reds now. I mean, oh god, it is just. I'm feeling the love,
right.
and I'd never
Well-
played the experimental droids. Never.
While
So-
Ben goes and touches himself, Will, what are you stoked about for
Think about it.
the Republic?
We've already talked to a ton of the changes to clone core units, but I think the biggest changes are Anakin and Obi-Wan. Both of them.
Oh my god, yeah.
Both of
Yeah.
them have gotten a revamp. Anakin works
One-
completely differently now,
Yeah,
where he's
one
an actual
more than
Jedi
other,
when you
but yeah.
purchase him.
Uh-huh.
Obi-Wan got some
Yeah.
some nice buffs, but his command cards are all the same. But the way Sorasu works, he's just invulnerable, I guess. Like
Sometimes, yeah.
Well, so
Sorasu.
go ahead. It's your thing.
Okay, yeah. Sorasu now lets you just re-roll his defense dice when he's shot at range. So in addition to deflect, meaning he surges block, he also re-rolls his blanks. So he has the most luckiest cape of all of the scoundrels.
Yep.
And you still get Guardian 3 and charge and jump and all the things.
Yep. I just wanted to point out that the only thing I was going to interject there is, I don't know if you were going to touch on it, is that his ability does say you have to reroll all those dice, y'all. So I don't want to see anybody out there saying that I'm going to reroll the blanks. Nope. You reroll everything. So it's a full redo.
Oh.
Full redo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's
important to point out.
reroll all of the dice. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
But sometimes that's the thing that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you roll below 50%,
Right.
especially at range, and it's specifically just ranged attacks, right? Or can you
It
do
is
in melee
just
too?
ranged attacks.
You can do it for Guardian
Yeah.
too.
So
Yes.
Yeah.
It's ranged attacks, or when he uses Guardian, he rerolls
is
all the
also-
dice.
just range attacks.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yes. Except for his 2-pip where he can Guardian a melee.
There it is.
Sure.
Anakin, however, is a new beast.
My boy.
And
my
he's
God, he's
terrifying.
My boy.
He's terrifying.
So-
I played against him twice, and he touched me in the bad place.
You used to have to spend 3 turns at Build-A-Bear Workshop putting your Anakin together before he was really useful.
He was Super Saiyan
But
Anakin,
now-
where he's just standing in the corner
Yeah.
going, ah!
You had to scream in the corner for 3 turns, and then you were fully powered up, and you
Right.
killed everyone in front of you.
And then Yoda killed you.
But now, what if you could just do that from turn 1? Because
Yeah.
now you get jump 1, master the force 1, charge, deflect, all the things from the start.
So
And surge crit. Don't forget.
yeah, and Surge Crit.
And now you have deflect all the time natively, like we talked about. Gem So is just insulting to anyone that tries to smack you. Like,
Yep.
if anyone punches
You hurt
Anakin
me,
in
I hurt
melee,
you.
yeah. If you punch Anakin and don't do it well enough, he hurts you back because you're so disappointing. And then, if you hurt his friends, he can perform an attack or move if it's within range 3 of him. Is the new
Could also
tempted.
proc an attack. Yes.
Exactly.
So I just, again, sorry, but side note here, because it's a good point
Cool.
to throw this. It's a good point to throw this in here. Gemso is really cool because it mirrors Vader's new Fear and Dead Men card, which is it wounds them on blanks. Or sorry, for every wound that Vader takes, you take a wound.
Yes.
Yes, sorry.
It
Go
is
ahead. Carry on.
It's a mirror of that ability.
Yes,
I agree.
it's a
Yeah.
cool.
But his 1-pip is the
Yeah.
thing we're here for.
So
Like,
since you
nothing
no
else
longer have
matters.
to assemble your Anakin on the table, he has 3 brand new command cards that are all crazy.
Yeah.
The 3-pip is probably the most it's good. He gets Inspire 2 and whoever he orders gets an aim. Neat.
Yeah.
cool.
But then
It's 3 units. It's nice.
That's
I like it.
that's a solid command card.
Yeah,
it sure
man.
is. It's kind of like Luke but more aggressive. Weird. Anyway,
I mean, but giving clones aim tokens is a nice.
no, it's not bad. And Inspire
Share
2
the
is
bad boys.
important in
Share the
this
bad boys.
edition
Oh,
with,
yeah.
clearing those suppressions and making sure your stuff gets to activate.
Like Vader, if he actually cared about his troops,
Exactly. His new 2-pip, same name, Underestimate My Power. If he punches someone with a face down order token, he adds 6 white dice to his attack pool.
Yep.
And actually, it's
Yep,
not just punching. You can do it on saber throw.
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. And the
Yep.
crazy thing about that card is if you can time it right. This is probably getting a little ahead, but I think before we talk about his 1-pip, we should talk about Tempted. You can proc that up to twice in a round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Tempted lets him attack more than once because it's out of his activation.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. And then
That is. Yeah.
a new 1-pip. You divulge it to get prepared position.
I like it.
Just
I like it.
do that. You don't have to play it. You just divulge it.
Yep.
Yep.
And then when you play the card, he gets free action jump 2, which will trigger charge, and he can attack up to 2 times during his activation. So you can charge into something, kill it, and then charge into something else and kill that. Yay!
Move again. Yeah. It's as someone who's been when I played Will, he didn't even do the divulge step because we were just messing around learning so many other things.
Right.
It was just I'm going to use burst of speed, which makes me go fast for the entire
God.
round.
Yeah. That
Jump
affects the
2,
free
burst
action
of
jump
speed,
2, burst
attack,
of speed. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
it
if
was
someone
3
punches one of your friends and they're close enough to you somehow, you could attack a third time.
So that never happened because he just both games was turn 2. I'm in your lines more than range 3 away from all my friends, but all the rebels are dead, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Turns out they can't hurt
When
your
you
friends
use
if they're dead
Your
first.
free move, your free jump 2 after killing K2SO, to then you a speed 3 move into Cassian, killing Cassian. It's pretty good.
That's pretty good, huh?
That's pretty cinematic, I'll be real honest. And fucking scary.
I was terrified. I was sad. I was a very sad boy. But it was cool. I've been asking for a long time for like an aggressive, not utility Anakin who just sits behind a line of sight blocker.
Yeah,
handing out
token
tokens
share.
to his pals.
Heidi Hole token share Anakin never felt great to
He
me.
felt bad. It just
Yeah.
felt so like
Yeah.
It felt weird.
It did not feel like Anakin. It did not.
No, and it felt weird that Anakin was just sitting in your back line in case they had a melee threat, and otherwise
then
like he just sat there.
Anakin sharing dodges and using barrier was more effective than Obi-Wan using Guardian
Yep.
and barrier, so
Yep.
he was the cheaper, better support Jedi, which just felt all kinds of wrong.
Yeah, true. All true.
But now that I'm done rambling about Jedi, we're all in suspense what Ryan is most excited to play, I think.
Yeah. It's a card that saw 0 changes.
Yep.
Well, that's not true.
Tauntauns are back, baby! Oh my god.
It never walked away.
Well, they kind of did.
They didn't.
But all the new objectives,
In his heart,
the
they
new
did.
the
Because he
new
has to be the
deployment
victim.
rules.
Of course.
Well, they couldn't
Yes.
stand up to clone commandos. Clone commandos and,
That's-
and
All right, I'll give you that.
Nothing
But
good,
I think
but
those
yes.
clone commandos
I-
are still broken.
I
So.
disagree, but all right, carry on.
I mean, when I'm only going to get 4 dice into them at range 2, and they get 8 back at
You
me, and then when I
melee
do
them.
get the charge.
Never mind. All right, carry on. Keep doing your thing.
Their melee
If-
attack is better than mine.
Yeah. I mean, they punch with 8 black dice.
They punch with 8 black, yeah.
Okay.
And I have white saves.
Okay.
But the Tauntaun itself did not change, but with the new deployment rules, or lack of deployment, all the new missions that Tauntauns can do, fast units are so good right now.
Remember that thing where
Speed.
Tauntauns had deployed but not moved, so you shot them before they got dodges?
Yeah.
That was nice,
That
wasn't
does
it?
not happen anymore, yeah.
Rip that plan.
The withdrawal moves or withdrawal changes where it doesn't end your activation and creature troopers can still attack afterwards, so you can withdraw and get an attack off and then still do another speed 3 to like maybe get out of line of sight. The standby changes, which we didn't really cover, but you can only spend standbys on units that triggered the standby if you're going to perform an attack. So it's not like use force push somebody to trip a standby and then attack everybody else. Force pushing to set off standbys doesn't even work anymore because
Correct. They have to
your
set-
opponent has to be
Yeah.
the one who originates
And
the
you have to shoot the
action.
unit that set it off. Yeah.
Right. Do you know the workaround to that? And Tim, this
Yes,
will be good
I
for
already
you
saw.
if
I
you
already
ever want to
know.
play
I already
dewbacks.
know.
You can spend a standby off of a creature trooper or any relentless
Yep.
unit, I should say, to perform a move, and then you get the attack not from the standby token, but from relentless, and can attack anybody you want.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Gross.
And it's almost like there's a new hold at any cost that can now order supports and giving them standby tokens. Oh, I'm excited to play Tauntauns. They got no direct changes themselves, but a lot of changes around them. Like and just the rules in general, being to be able to order at any range since they tend to run away from the rest of your army. They're gonna be a lot of fun to play. And easier to mix with your army. Because another change we didn't really get into that's pretty big is miniatures don't block movement of other miniatures. So you don't have to walk around in placements anymore. You don't have to walk around vehicles or creature troopers anymore. As long as you can clear their base, you can just move through them. So making Tauntauns way easier to skirt around the battlefield and not have to walk around vehicles and other awkward things. So, they're going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a menace.
Yeah.
Of course you are.
Can't wait.
Like, with the extra 200 points and all these changes, I'm going to definitely practice 4 Tauntauns and see if maybe I don't need the FD laser cannon to stall out with. We'll see.
Oh,
Man, I'm
gross.
stoked. Update all in all impressions. You guys know, I think, me specifically, but pretty much this whole show, we've been critical of AMG in the past. I was reserved about what was going to happen, but I am impressed. So well done.
I am happy with the changes. I think they're a positive move for the game.
Oh yeah.
I think there's some things people are going to have to get used to and might think are bad. Like I've seen people critiquing the moving onto the table or some of the new objectives and things like
Right.
that. But I think that's just something we'll have to, growing pains, get our way through.
Sure.
by turn 4, once Ben and I were really getting through the game, I think it flows just as well as it used to,
well.
and
Yep.
and the moving onto the board opens up a lot more decision making than it did.
Yeah, turn
previously.
1 was a very interesting beast. It was.
Yeah,
Yeah, it took all of the turn 0 stuff because this turn 0 was like less involved, and it just kind of rolls all the decision making from turn 0 and turn 1 all into one. Like you do most of that thinking when you're bringing your units out. The one criticism. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just go ahead. Finish your
ahead.
thought.
My one criticism of the thing that may go sour is all of our objectives are what I'm calling like dogpile objectives, and they're all kind of samey. I think they're really fun and fresh right now. I'm going to be curious to see how they feel in 6 months after, playing, one game a week and maybe one tournament a month or whatever. Is the fact that there's only 6 of them gonna grind down instead of all the unlimited like possibilities that we had with our old turn 0. That's my only reservation, but in time will tell. We'll revisit that.
I think time will tell. B, it's going to depend on what units you bring to the table, and C,
Sure.
Yeah.
I think also that's what the secondary objectives are for. I think those
Yeah,
add the spice of life. And again, just my disclaimer here. So I like all the changes, other than transport, which I'm not going to go off on, but I pretty much like all the changes, more or less. Lots of fresh life. I'm very excited to play, but my disclaimer is I've not had a chance to play yet. I haven't had the time. So hopefully this week I'll get a couple games in.
Yeah, I think the number of unique combinations of what you're scoring is greater than before.
Yes.
If you
Sure.
look at the combinations between primary and secondary, it is greater, but I
Yeah.
agree that the flavor of the primaries is less variety than like the, bombing run versus key positions, where now everything is kind of intercept in different shapes.
And they are more varied than like Shatterpoint or I think a lot of the MCP missions. There is more variety there within at least in the mechanics of how they work, but it's less than what we're used to. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they're more varied than Shatterpoint for sure. Marvel has so many at this point that a lot of them do feel pretty different, but a lot of them feel different based on just like how you interact with the same tokens, So
Right.
No, I think it'll take a minute, but we all will get in the swing of like what we like to play, what we don't like to play, all that kind of thing, or what's good for certain lists or bad for others.
And I'll be honest, having a secondary objective, I think, fixes a problem that Tim and I would occasionally have. Not together, but like just, all right, I've lost the mission. I'm not going to be able to do the mission.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I don't have anything else to do. Like, we spent a lot more time talking about the secondary objective than we did the first one.
Sure. Yeah.
That's
In
fair.
part because we had our sabotage positions or whatever our spots were. We were fighting over some of them, and we came down to those primary pieces there.
Well, and
Right.
you guys also played the research one, which doesn't make you claim stuff. You just have to kind of be near stuff.
Had to contest it.
Yeah.
And I could be wrong here, but I think as well, like in moving forward, well, 2 things. A, I think we could see it be a lot easier to add secondary objectives because
Yes, sure.
I think we'll obviously get more main objectives down the road, but I think it's a lot easier just to say like, okay, hey, here's a side thing that doesn't
Right.
catastrophically ruin everything as far as like balance goes, but it's like this can add some new flavor. So I think those are easy flavor things to throw in there. But then also B, and what I'm really excited for too, we got a great roadmap already, which again we'll talk about in next episode. But I really enjoy that this now feels like AMG's game. And so like and now they have a full grasp on it.
They have a stake.
Yeah, they have a stake and they have a full grasp on it, and they've now, because they've been able to redesign everything and say, okay, now this is our baby. Which is good. I'm not saying they weren't caring before, but it just, you can feel it now,
Yeah, most of the changes they made feel like a move towards their other games and what they like to design or prioritize about gameplay.
Right. And
see, now that was going to be my critique of it, though, is that it does feel very much like MCP. It feels very much like Shatterpoint. I see, it's not even like the same. I mean, I see a lot of the same design elements and design pieces of it.
Sure.
And is that a one-trick pony doing a lot of tricks?
I think they're different enough.
Is that just the AMG design ethos? And I get it's a design ethos. I understand that. But the difference between me playing Shatterpoint and this is I'm going to play with 6 models or apparently it looks like Jordan from Luminous Game is going to have to go buy 9 more boxes of Ewoks.
Right. But I think that's the point, though, is that you're trying to do similar things, but you're doing this on this grand scale. And I mean, 1,200 points used to be called Grand Army scale, right? So like this is the grand scale.
Right.
So I agree that it's a similar kind of like, okay, I'm trying to score points, but I mean, you could argue if you want to get really reductivist, like that's any games you're trying to score points. But like I think the way you're doing it feels so different than MCP. I've not tried Chatterpoint.
Yeah.
And I think what we're doing, and maybe this will kind of put a cap on the mission discussion for at least for now, because once again we've got limited games under our belt. I think where we'll see more staleness, and I think Will kind of touched on this earlier, in the variety of missions that we're playing. Now that every unit can score every objective, we're gonna that variety is gonna come through list building and the armies you choose to bring.
Agreed.
Rather than on the missions where you just like, well, I had a bad turn 0, so I went from 50-50 odds to win to 20%
Goodbye, everybody.
odds to
I
win.
don't think there's the objective card that means you auto lose nearly as badly as like playing bombing run when you're not prepared for it at all, or hostage against double Jedi.
The amount of unfun games I unapologetically played with people where I got to play bombing run with Tauntauns and they were just not ready, and they said, well, bombing run looks neat, I don't ever get to play it, and I'm like, neat, let's do that.
Right.
Like that's
Smiling
not going
like
to happen
a
anymore.
wolf. Yeah.
But it kind of will, because there's while we don't have bombing run in the main deck, bombing run is one of the secondaries.
Right. The secondaries will be the ones that are
of it. Yeah.
More like specialized to what your list building is, I think.
And you bet your bottom dollar it's going to go in every one of my decks.
I know. I know, buddy.
So yeah, I think we're all different flavors of cautiously optimistic. I think we still need to wait to see the rest of the rollout, like we kind of started this conversation with, to see what this is going to finally look at. But I think we all are like
It's
newly excited and energized to interact with the game where we maybe weren't 4 days ago.
so what this kind of excites me for is I'm okay if we go back to print and play.
Yeah, 100%.
Like we're not quite standing with our tomes of Warhammer knowledges in order to find out what things do, but we all have print. Most of us have access to printers or Kinkos or Staples. I don't mind printing cards when it's time for an update or a change or an upgrade, or the game is moved, so we've got to change over to this. I'm fine with it.
Don't quote me, but because I missed the first bit of the Legion roadmap, I do think they're going to do faction card packs if you want the cards.
They are.
Yeah,
they
already said
they're eventually
printed,
going to
so,
sell the cards to you if you want them on like professional card stock,
Yes,
or
they said they
you want
want
the
that.
card backs that are in the
all
rule
the new
book.
art, all the new.
They said that's on the roadmap.
And I'm fine with that. Yeah.
The one thing I'm disappointed, like there are new art and the new graphic design. I know it's been pretty divisive online. I think it looks cool. The only mistake I think they made, and once again, they've not actually printed any of these yet.
Right.
I don't want point costs on them. I want point costs in a document. That way, if they change, like, it's easier to reference than having to keep track of what point changes what. But I guess keywords and stuff are going to change.
Keywords are going to change, but also you need to remember that. Sorry, we're not the core audience of this game. It's the Joe Schmo and Little Bobby Schmo playing at home, and they need to be able.
Yep, it's basement players.
Right, they need to be able to see the
points,
points,
players.
and even if those points are quote unquote wrong, they need to be able to see it and play with it without having to look at a document.
Yep.
And I don't know about you guys. I'm in the place now where most of the time I don't even pack, unless obviously for an event I do, but I don't pack my unit and reference cards. I just bring the cards I need that I'll tap or exhaust or discard. Like, I know what my stuff does.
You'll have to look at them a little bit more now.
We can pull up a reference online if we need to.
Yeah.
But so that is a small quibble. You're right. So, all right. We're gonna probably be posting some more cinematic moments in the relatively near future. Some cool stuff. I'm gonna
Will did tell me he took a bunch of screenshots during our game. So
nice.
I did.
I took.
Yeah.
I don't know when or if, because we might have had some audio issues. We might have to do some voiceover. The very first game me and Alpha Will played, we did record for the Tennessee Volunteer Legion YouTube channel, so you guys should go check that out.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be up by the time this episode goes live. Who knows? We did a bunch of stuff wrong, but we both had a good time farting around and learning.
Good.
So it'll be pretty cool.
You apparently tagged Will on the Legion Discord, guys. because it turns out Will's is the first name that showed up. So I changed my name. So now my name's the first one that shows up.
Aha.
So
Ah.
everyone,
Too busy
please
responding
ignore
to the
Ben
daytime.
and still tag me.
Yeah, ignore Ben. Yeah.
I was summoned
if you're
for the
gonna
hot
look there.
takes.
If you're gonna go to a non-faction chat and summon one of us, like at least do the service of summoning all of us, because that way Will doesn't have a big head about it.
Yes, we know Will
God
struggles
forbid one
with
of us have an
pride.
ego.
Yes.
No one around here
It
has
has
Will
that.
is the one
No,
with the
none of
pride.
us.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It also has to be a national holiday. Now we will celebrate international holidays.
true.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
You have
yeah.
something
we don't
in your
care.
country.
Come up with whatever
And
holiday.
we'll make
it
a
is.
holiday if we have
Absolutely.
to.
Yeah.
Speaking of making holidays,
I'm
we'll
just-
make a holiday in a Legion Discord. Just tag us on there. So there you go.
Yep.
I'm waiting for us to get a group role so you can just tag @stab and all 4 of us will get pinged.
Ooh, we
There
should
you go.
ask for a
Make
group
it
role.
happen,
happen,
Jordan. Make it
Jordan.
That
Come
feels like
on.
a summoning kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you can do the I summon the @stab and we all just appear out of our
we also need
demonic
to put
portals.
Peregrine has to get that tag as well, so he can come moderate us.
I think all mods should. Yeah.
I think every mod is trained. I think that's part of like onboarding. All right, so these
Yeah.
there's an
these
alert.
four
So
guys,
there's these guys.
these 4 schmucks. Anybody ever
If
called?
you see these 4 schmucks, you must threaten to ban them, but then get sad when they leave.
They're-
If
in case of
if you want to
emergency.
support our, go ahead. Finish
No, I
your
was just
thought,
gonna say in case of emergency, break glass for slow mode, and they just put the whole thing in slow mode. We've been there. We've caused that. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yep.
One
You
too
guys
many
do blow up our
Stabcasts.
Instagrams. You like all the stuff, and we follow
Yep.
you because I do actually look at those pieces normally late at night before I try to drift off to bed. And, existential dread, but
You're just Instagram creeping. I get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
just Instagram
Sure.
dread. But y'all post all the nice things there. Yeah, we respond on Facebook. Indeed, we actually post episodes tend to be hey, we posted a thing
Yeah.
there, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, and
All
if you
social
want to
medias.
support our Discord degeneracy, you can go to teespring.com/store/STABcast and buy a t-shirt, buy a fanny pack, do that cool stuff. It really does help a lot. We try to cover our server costs every year with the merch sales, and you can drop us a line at swstabcast@gmail.com. We're pretty loaded, it looks like, for the next little month or two with Gen Con, and there's some news tidbits we didn't get to this episode. But if you have something you want us to talk about, please do let us know. This is a perfect opportunity too. In the next couple weeks, as we start to play more games, we may have to bring back a new version of Red Player's Dilemma 2.6.
Yeah, seriously. What happens if this is the flop?
It's just going to be every player's dilemma. We don't even know. I don't
That's
even
right.
know.
So,
That sounds delightful. So
Yeah.
but quick rapid fire for some tournaments that we're going to be either at or supporting. Gen Con obviously is coming up. Will, you've got a local next weekend. Is it in Springs or is it in Denver?
It is at Gamers Haven in Colorado Springs on the 27th, so coming up pretty
Sick.
quick. We've got 3
Nice,
slots
nice.
left. 18
Nice.
slots total. We have 15 signed up so far.
And
some
that
of
is
some of the
both-
Denver crew are
both-
coming.
Both Gen Con and that are old rules, just
Yes,
FYI. I
yeah.
think that's something we're probably going to have to talk about for the next little bit. But you guys have Tacticon in Denver at the end of August. Is any word on if that's going to be new or old rules?
I've not heard if there's been a decision on that, but I would assume since it's near the end of August, we're going to be on new
Sure.
rules by then. So
That'd be awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that one's up in Denver, in Aurora, next to the airport. So people flying in don't have a long trip to make, and it's in a hotel.
Sure.
So come on down.
Nice.
nice.
Crucible is confirmed that at the start of September, it is going to be new rules. It's going to be awesome. I think spots are going for that quickly. If you have not gotten your ticket, that's a thing that you should probably do.
Yes, and also you're going to get
Get it
some
done.
freebies of like some of the new tools and things like that. Druid's
Yep.
is working on that.
Yep,
So, yeah.
for sure. Michigan GT is at the end of September in Lansing, September 21st, 22nd. Friends of the show put that on, Gurgly. One of these days I'll make it up. I don't think it's going to be this year, sadly. October 5th and 6th at the Grand Geneva Resort in Wisconsin. It looks beautiful. Our buddy Kevin is putting on Dragonfall. You can find tickets at dragon-fall.com. The 3 Foot Good Brawl, October 12th in Davenport, Iowa. And then just recently added is the Chattanooga Comic-Con, August 26th and 27th. Tickets for that are live. Our good buddy, the
Nice.
Captain, is putting that on. That venue is actually beautiful.
It really
if you
is.
got-
Like I've kind of said, I didn't get to play it last year.
Yeah. And then the August 24th, we're having a local tournament here in Knoxville if you want to come hang out with me and potentially Ben. you can come play just a store level tournament with us. We're going to have 20, 30 players, and it'll be new rules, and
Nice.
I'm going to pull my hair out judging, teaching everybody all the new stuff.
That's what the spiral binder's
That's
for.
the fun.
That's what the binder's for.
It's going to be a good time. Will's abandoned me, so I'm going to be flying this one solo. Pour one out.
Nice.
So,
Well, we promised actually battle reports, and I think it is the hallmark of our show. I don't think we can do it this week, guys.
Yeah.
We've kind of talked about it as we've done. I just don't think we can do it this week.
You guys have talked about your games in pretty well detail. The highlights of my games were just, dice variance was super wild. We learned that don't deploy like it was a 1.0 game. Again, my game against Christian. I played Will twice. We traded games. Dice were a big factor in both of them. And then probably my favorite game of the weekend was versus our buddy Brett on TTS, because he hot diced me to hell and back. But
it's a big but.
Because of the secondary objective we were playing and the progressive scoring system, I got one interval of scoring ahead, and in the Rebel way, I had like 3 activations left and managed to pull the game just because I kept tempo up. So score early and score often, boys and girls.
Moral of the story
That's the takeaway from our battle reports.
Moral of the story is it's all dice, only sometimes it's not. So there you go. That's it.
Moral of the story is don't be in a Discord chat listening to Brett defeating Ryan for 2 hours and then suddenly you hear from them
realizing that
Ryan has won, and me and Ben both had to
The
be
emotional
like,
hurt in
"What?"
Brett's voice.
He was upset.
He was so happy, and then you crushed him.
Yeah.
Well, when we talk about crushing Brett's spirits, it's time to go
normal
before
episode.
Peter gets on us
Well,
for
it's the start
beating,
of our episode. Welcome to 175.
for beating up 3 raccoons in a trench coat. So thanks guys for spending this super jumbo stuffed long episode. We missed our deadline last week, but we'll be back after Gen
I wanted to
Con.
be
It all worked out.
This is almost 2 episodes.
Yeah, it really is almost 2 episodes. So until next time, I'm Ryan Slawowski, reminding you to always bring some backup.
I'm Wilhelm, reminding you that I can bring 1,000 points of fur and shove it down your throat now. Be prepared.
I'm Tim Hannon, reminding you to pour one out for the artist formerly known as Shadow Collective, because technically they're still in the game, but are they really?
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't even talk about
They're-
that, but I've been thinking about it all
They're
episode.
not on the
What happened
roadmap.
to them?
Spoiler alert, y'all. They're not on the roadmap at all.
They're a battle force. They're complete. They're fine.
Oh, they're not complete. But anyway, pour one out.
Yeah, and I'm Ben Fowler reminding you, we are back, baby. We don't have to play experimental droids anymore. You can be any type of droid you want, which is lots of them.
That's right. No more
Or you
experimental
can play
droids.
experimental droids and make the better
Or you
units
just play
better.
experimental droids, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're still going to play them.
They did get a nice little nerf.
Droidicas are pretty good now,
We didn't
so-
talk about that, but EXD did get nerfed.
Enjoy all the droidicas in the EXDs moving forward. There you go.
Oh,
Yep.
there's going to be so
That's
many
fair.
droidicas.
That's fair.
I'm going to have to go buy some droidicas.
droidicas.
Maybe that's what it is. AMG has just had shelves of stuff to sell.
Yeah,
and like,
I mean,
this
that
is
may
how
be.
we're going to do it.
I was
Like, how
really
do we-
surprised your sign off, Ben, wasn't like we actually manifested clone Delenda's Est. I mean,
Yeah, but like the real Roman Republic, we punched them in the nose like Carthage, and they came back. And I don't know if that's good for anybody.
I
We
shall
won the first
return.
Carthage war. It's going to have to be real hard to win the second one.
Salt the fields.
This was not the
That's fair.
third war.
goodbye,
you don't want
everyone.
Hannibal. Remember, it was Hannibal marching back for the second one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Bwah, 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 bwah. And save ourselves, for marriage with the sleeper cells.
Why would you say it like that?
Yeah, like in this, no.
In this
Just
economy,
making Will's job tough to cut
In
cut
this
around
day
me.
and age, I don't know.
It's 2024. We eat
Yeah,
ass
that's
now.
true. That's true. That's an episode title.
speaking of eating ass, you want to tell me about what Han does now?
Legion
someone?
2.6. We eat ass now.
Jesus.